Hello Internet, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 106. My name is Patrick, I'm joined by Saif, say hi.
Yeah, hello.
And Steve, say hi.
Oh. Did that cut out for you too, Patrick?
It did, but I still got enough of it in there that was that Towley? Are we being blessed by a surprise guest appearance? Big fan of the podcast, Towley?
No, it was yeehaw, like the typical thing the Cowboys say. Don't worry, it looks like it recorded on the audio software, so I want that in the podcast, Seth.
Can we bring back Towley?
And then I want the podcast to end.
Where did Towley go?
Is Tally in the room with you right now, Patrick?
I want him to be.
Don't forget to bring a towel. No, I can't do that voice.
Why did you try to sound like Super Mario?
I wasn't.
I can't believe we're blessed not only with Towley, but surprise big fan of the podcast, Chris Pratt.
And Garfield as well, don't forget.
And Garfield.
If there's anyone I don't want being a fan of the podcast, it's Chris Pratt.
Man, beggars and choosers and all that. We record on a Tuesday, so I think Garfield would be okay with this.
Beggars can't be Tuesdays? I think that's probably accurate.
Oh, Jesus. All right, put a pin in it, fellas, we're done. Actually, no, I've got a question.
I am cooked. Yeah, okay, what's the question?
Yeah, good question. So you know how, like, you've got those...
You just say good question to yourself.
Yes.
Okay, great segue, Steve. Great segue. I have much to learn from you.
So you know how you've got those Greek roast things, euros?
That's a currency, but continue.
But you know how it's spelled with a G, right?
Yeah,
yes.
It's spelled like gyro if you spoke it wrong and in English.
Yeah, all right, cool. You're fucking taking my fucking thing, Seth. Well, yeah, like euros are spelled like gyros, but imagine if like we called them like Euro controls or something like that. Man, Seth, you really took the wind out of my sails by saying
I'm happy to be of service.
Do you ever find it funny that we say worm and tomb, but we don't say bomb? But we don't say boom, we say bomb.
I do say boom.
You say boom. You're playing Counter-Strike. The boomer's been
Is the boom in the room with you right now?
The boomer took my house. How about that?
Wow. Put a pin in it. We're done, ladies and gentlemen.
Because you got better put a pin in it because it'll go boom.
Yeah, put the pin.
You can't put the pin back in the grenade.
Yeah, we're bottom trolling here. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Patrick, can we get to the real podcast?
Is the real podcast in the room with us now?
All right, all three of us have been hit with that now. We can put that joke to bed.
Yeah, we can. Any more and we summon Methuselah. All right, Run Lounge for this week. What have I been up to this week? Nothing. So that's easy. Steve, what have you been up to?
The open beta for Skull and Bones was last weekend.
No way, you actually signed up for that?
Well, you didn't need to sign up, it was open. So I just pretty much pressed the download button and then yo ho ho.
I can't believe Ubisoft got you with that.
I can't believe you didn't have to pirate the pirate game.
Look, it was a free beta. The only thing I spent was my time, which is my most precious resource. And the only thing that I can't get back.
This is off to a great start with Skull and Bones then.
Hold up, you also can't get back the physical ownership of the game. Thanks, Ubisoft.
I never owned the game because it was a free beta. And then
so you got owned by the game.
Oh. But no, just for those at home, and not for Pat, a free beta is usually like a demo weekend they've got of a video game to like either stress test its network servers or to gauge interest. And considering how this game comes out next week, it was definitely to gauge interest and to stress test the network servers. And let me tell you, fellas.
No, don't tell us. Wait till it's your turn.
Okay, so you know what? No, you're right, Seth. I'm not going to tell you at all. I'm going to talk about the Fable trilogy today.
Oh, thank God.
I can't believe he just pulled that one so out of pocket like that.
No, yeah, Skull and Bones is a video game. What have you been up to, Seth?
I finished... Well, I talked about it last time that I did the entire Tekken 8 story mode, but I believe that Patrick has finished it now, so I can actually just talk about the ending of that story mode this week.
True.
And since that's going to be a bit of a shorter topic, Patrick and I also did the God of War Valhalla DLC when that dropped during our podcast break, so we'll cover that too.
Oh, will we now? You're just going to toss me under the Valhalla bus like that?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to spoil all the stuff that you haven't done yet.
But what about me, who hasn't played the game and probably won't play the game for 4 years? Like, should I be worried?
You'll probably
get stepped on by a Valkyrie, the end.
No, my favorite part was when you both started talking at the same time. Classic.
Well, then you're going to love the DLC.
Oh. Hang on, let him talk.
Okay, no, that all sounds good. I have been given, on pain of death, a sticky note. So Seth's across from me in the recording booth right now. He's got a sock on his head with like one eye hole cut out, and he handed me a note that said, and it's in really badly worded English, but it says, "I have your family. Let me do Steamcharts this week." So, first of all, Seth, I don't have a family. I don't know whose family you have, but you need to let them go immediately.
I refuse.
But okay, but secondly, at least I tried. Sorry, family. Secondly, what is Steamcharts? What have you
Sorry,
got prepared
family.
for us?
Yeah, so I have 3 games on Steamcharts here. Let's start it
so you've
simple.
already fucked the brief.
Let's start it simple. I will give you guys these 3 games. You guys have to just rank in order what you think
Steve,
these
stay
are.
strong. We can break Seth. If we refuse to engage, he has to move on.
No, I'll just sit here in silence. I'll make it
finally,
awkward
good.
for you guys.
Some good news. Finally, Pat and I can have a good discussion.
But yes, I have 3 games here.
right.
First off, very easy. Rank them from what you think has the lowest to the highest. We have Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Helldivers 2.
Lowest to highest. What rating? Concurrent player count, max player count, all-time pick. Okay. Yep.
So Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which just came out. Helldivers 2, which also just came out, and both of these games are live service games. And Gotham Knights, which was the Arkham style game that came out before Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and everyone was like, "There's no way Suicide Squad is worse than this."
I reckon it's Helldivers.
I know. Pick me. I know.
No,
Pick
I'm
me.
just talking. Yeah, well, you can go. You can go next week, fella. So I reckon it's Helldivers 2 at the top, and then Gotham Knights, and then Suicide Squad.
I'm going Helldivers at the top, but I'm swapping the order. I think it's Suicide Squad and then Gotham Knights.
Man, you really should have taken the hint I put in there where I said that it couldn't have been worse than Gotham Knights, because it absolutely was. The correct order is Helldivers 2 at the top, Gotham Knights in the middle, and Suicide Squad at the bottom.
Suicide Squad bros on Suicide Watch.
Well, no one's surprised though.
Now, give me the numbers you think, and I'll give you a range. I'll give you a range, but just in general.
All right. Now, just so that we're clear on this, Steve. So the numbers that he gives, you lose if you give a number out of that range, because I know that you like
It's
to
an
do that
automatic
for some
DQ.
reason.
Patrick will just get the points.
I will try my best.
Give me your points.
Okay, so I'm going to say the lowest for the range is 5,000, and the highest is 250,000. How much do you think each game has? I'm actually going to notepad.
So are you saying that the range, are you saying that the top game had 250, or that the top game didn't have more than 250?
It didn't have more than 250.
All right, I see.
You go first this time, Pat.
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, already won the first one, at
You
least
didn't,
on, like, moral grounds.
You didn't.
So, yeah, but, like, I mean, do we really count Australians as being able to contribute to ranks? Or
You're from New Zealand. Don't you have hobbits to do or something? Oh, no, look out, a sheep. Pat should be gone for 30 seconds.
you leave my cousin alone. Right.
I know, step sheep, what are you doing?
Stuck in the fence, I'll help him out. All right, so... you're moving swiftly along. Helldivers 2, which, side point, I've seen people talk about Helldivers 2. I have no idea what this game is or does or anything. Like, it kind of blinds. I think we've talked about it once or twice, but I know very little about this game. Throwing some numbers out, I'm going to guess 160 for Helldivers 2, and then we'll go 80 for Gotham Knights.
Was it 84 like the number, or 84 Gotham Knights?
We'll go 80. I'll go 160. I'll go 80, and I'll go 10.
You're a fucking idiot.
Suicide
You're an
Squad.
idiot, Pat. You got the numbers outside of the range. It's supposed to be in the tens of thousands. Come on, man. You're terrible at this game.
I said the bottom was 5,000.
Yeah, and he's saying like 160. What does that have to do? That's so far below.
I said the top. It doesn't go higher than 250k, and it doesn't go lower than 5k.
Look, I get the feeling my joke is not landing, so I'm going to explain it again. Like, but Pat said like 160, and 160 is lower than 5,000, so it's outside of the range. You know what? Fuck it. I hate this. This is dumb. You guys are gaslighting me.
Seth, if we remain silent and don't engage, he has to break and move on.
I feel like this happens every Steamcharts too. It's a bit at this point.
Welcome back to Basic Math with Steve.
Look, it doesn't matter. I was getting him on the technicality.
That's funny. That's what Steve said back in second grade, and look where we are now.
Nah, bastard.
Hey.
So I reckon I had a lot more time. So I think Helldivers has 210.
Helldivers is 210.
Gotham Knights is 130.
130.
And Suicide Squad is 50.
It would have been so much funnier if you just took the numbers that I said and just added one.
It's too late for that. The numbers are locked in.
Actually, can I change mine?
No.
But it could be funny.
So,
think of the YouTube short.
Suicide Squad, Patrick wins with his 10K. The all-time peak is 13,459.
Yo, I thought I was so off on that.
Yeah, I knew. I thought I was too high.
Now, neither of you were right on Gotham Knights. You both went way over. This was 24,138. Still higher by like 11K. And then this one was actually closer, but Patrick still got this.
Damn it.
Helldivers 2 was 196,000.
Oh. I'll be honest with you, fellas, this is a shit game.
It's okay, you won last week.
Who wins this week, sir?
I'm going to give it to Patrick because he got 2 of these correct. And
what do you mean? It was a tie. But I won the last one.
Seth, I'm gonna put this $5 bill face down on the table, and I'm gonna look the other way, and whatever happens to it, happens to it. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's New Zealand money. It's worth like 4 cents.
Yummy. Yummy, yummy in my tummy.
He just eats it. Remember back when Elon Musk was debating ending world hunger with his enormous net wealth, and people theorized that he could buy and then eat the Mona Lisa?
And he solved world hunger, didn't he?
No, he got into a spat with the UN or something. I don't know. I didn't read the tweet.
And the guy was like, "Oh, if I provide you with like a plan to do it, will you do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he provided him the plan. Then it was radio silence.
Yeah, and then Elon's like, "Actually, I'm going to buy the funny bird website and crash it."
Still the funniest shit he's ever done.
Very true. All right. Speaking of the funniest shit that he's ever done, Steve, tell us about Skull and Bones.
Oh, yo ho ho, my friends.
And a bottle of rum.
A bottle of
yo
rum.
Ho ho, no, this is terrible. Let's go back.
Yes, this game is no bueno. I'll say that right now. Look, I'll be honest.
He's starting this like the same way I started the Marvels.
Yeah, but it's not going to get any better. So I played it for about
Would you say that he pirated that, Seth? Mm-hmm.
No, more like copy pasted.
Just
he just looked at my homework and copied it.
Roll with the bit.
I'm not rolling with the bits anymore. I already got my $5 out of you.
I wish I had a comeback to that. I really don't. I'm out $5 and I've been made to look like a buffoon. Truly, this is the worst day to be alive. Anyway, Skull and Boners, Steve. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, Skull and Boners indeed. Yeah, like it's not good. I'll be straight up. Like I played it for 3 hours. Probably about 30 minutes of that was just me getting frustrated at the game because like it starts you off in this really big ship, and then the controls for this really big ship are like there's no weight to it. It feels like you're driving a car with like how fast it turns and how quickly it speeds up. It's like you hold the A button to like release all the sails and to go faster, but it accelerates very fast. And even turning is like, oh, you're turning on like a dime. Like you just turn very fast. It doesn't feel very good when you're driving a ship. But then like that ship like gets like bombarded by the British, and then your character ends up just being like essentially a castaway. And then it's like, collect a bunch of loot to get to like a famous pirate island, and then you can build a bigger ship. But like to get to when you're in that first part of collecting all the loot, it's essentially just like, oh look, there's a bunch of like boards you've got to scavenge up, and your character meets these essentially 2 other people, and they are just generic people that are like, oh yeah, cool, like we'll just follow you. We have no reason to follow you whatsoever, but we'll follow you. And then you get to this pirate island, and it's like, oh yeah, like you've got to talk to the big guy in charge, and it's like, all right, give me like 20 oak trees or whatever he says. So then you've got to go out in your dingy, shitty little boat, and you've got to go to these collection points on the map. And I'll remind you at this point, this is an MMO as well. And you interact with other people in the world and other people interact with like other points in the world. So I literally probably spent 10 minutes going to this resource point that has these fucking oak trees I needed, and it wouldn't give me the collect button. And I'm like, why aren't I getting the collect button? What's going on here? Is it bugged or something? But it turns out that because another player had like harvested that resource, that it wasn't available to me.
No way.
So then I had to fucking go like far out of my way. Obviously, this resource point is sort of semi-located close to the pirate town because it's designed to be like, okay, cool, you're going in a straight line. It takes you a couple minutes to get there, and then you go back. But no, like it just fucking around, just couldn't get it. So I had to go like 10 minutes up. It was just so frustrating and inconvenient. And by this point, I'm shitty. But then, like after you collect those resources, you get a bigger ship, and you can customize it to a sense of what guns do you want, what cannons do you want. And it's just just very like MMO type of game. Like it's all the missions are go out, do X thing, collect 7 things, come back, hand it off, and that's kind of it. The ship combat is pretty interesting. It kind of feels a bit like Assassin's Creed 4, which I'm a big fan of. And maybe this is because I only had the early game stuff, but it didn't feel like there was just sort of any strategy or positioning. Like you're using like the triggers to sort of like aim the cannons and then like fire the cannons. But it pretty much came down to who could like get on a 90-degree angle faster, because if you're on a 90-degree angle faster, you can fire like, because you'll have like 3 or 6 cannons on the side.
Yeah, so you just broadside them.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Like, and like none of the other characters speak in like a pirate accent. There are no Yarra and me hearties.
Seems like kind of racist to point that out, but all right.
Oh yeah, well,
how do they speak?
It's like set in like the Caribbean, so they've all got like Caribbean accent.
Oh, and you're saying that's a problem?
No, that's realistically what it would have been. But this is a video game. I literally just want fucking Yarr.
you want 12-year-olds screaming into shitty Xbox mics.
Yes. Well, no. I mean, like the characters, as in like the NPC characters.
Oh no, I know what you meant. I stand by what I said.
Yeah, it's very strange. And there was a couple of times when like it's sort of MMO based, but it's more live service based. But you can see other people in the world, and I like went to ram this guy just to see what would happen, and I just went straight through him.
Oh, that's boring as shit.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm sort of in the starting zone. Maybe they've got PvP turned off or something. But then like, and I could sort of see that. But then there was this one mission, and I had to like sink a bunch of explorer ships, and like because obviously the mission's in the starting thing, a lot of people are doing it at the same time. And I was shooting this ship, and then this other like a player character, like another person, like came up and was like bombing them as well. So like it took us like 3 seconds to beat this ship. But then he came and stole all the loot. And so because like the mission, I had to get like a riches from this mercantile ship. Because he had stolen the loot, I had to go fucking find it and kill another one. But they only spawned in this particular area, and he had fucking like sniped me. Well, he didn't mean to snipe me. Well, I'm assuming he didn't. It's just frustrating. It just wasn't fun. And there's this weird like a stamina bar type of thing that like when you're like have the sails all the way down, like it drains a stamina bar, so you can't have the sails down all the way. And I don't know why it does that, because like it's just forcing you to go slow. And I could sort of understand it was forcing you to go slow if there was like things to do, and maybe there are things to do later. But it's just like, all right, cool. My mission is to get from point A to point B, collect things at point B, and return to point A.
Can you run that by me again? So if your sails are down, like you don't have any sails, then your stamina runs out and you go slower?
No, sorry, no, I'm misquoting. So you've got 3 speeds. You've got stopped, and it's a sails
speed.
No. That'd be funny if it was like that. So you've got stopped, and that's when your sails are fully up, I guess. You've got sails down, which is kind of like your mid speed, and then you've got all your sails down, which is like the level
ramming
3 speed. Yeah, ramming speed, I guess. Yeah, and that's the one that's got the stamina.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but it's even weirder and compounded by the fact that if you're if you're sailing into the wind, it like completely nerfs your speed something fierce. And as someone I've been on a boat that did have a sail on it, I understand that you sort of have to go at a diagonal to it to go forward. But like it's a video game.
You got to do the old tack and jibe.
Yeah, exactly. Tacking and jibing, exactly. But I don't want to do that in a video game, especially when the key point of the video game is to go from point A to point B. Yeah, it's just frustrating that like it's slowing me down, and I don't know. But it just kind of it doesn't tell you either. Well, there's no easy way that I could see to find out which way the wind's going as well, so I could tack and jibe. It's just kind of like, whoop, my speed throttling. Why the fuck am I going so slow? I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sailing right into the wind. Yeah, that's kind of frustrating. And actually, speaking of when like you're on these like fetch quests and stuff, and on the way there, like sometimes you'll see like just stuff drifting in the water, and you can go over there. You can essentially sail over there and pick it up. There's no auto pickup. Like you've got to press the A button, and it just kind of I don't want to just let me just sail over something and pick it up straight away. Like it's kind of.
Is it one of those like you can't be like I actually. Dumb question. Are you controlling the boat or are you controlling your character on the boat?
Controlling the boat.
Yeah, okay. Pressing A seems weird then.
Yeah, and I kind of understand you might not want to pick up everything because you do have limited cargo space on your ship.
If my memory is serving me correctly...
It's not.
Yeah, probably not. But in Assassin's Creed 4, you just sailed over the things and it auto-picked it up, didn't it?
Yes. So there is... and I think the problem... There are really two types of things that you pick up. There's like dumb craftable materials, which my big problem is where you have to sail over and pick them up. But then if you
human remains.
But then if you sink a ship, there's loot, and that loot automatically gets picked up. So it's kind of split into two things. Like loot, yeah, sure, swim over, like not even swim, sail over to it, automatically pick it up. Bob's your uncle. But if you want a crafting material like wood or metal or literally a lot of things that you'll need to upgrade your ship and like resources, you have to press that button, which is probably the thing that you'll be pressing the button the most for. Like it's weird. But yes, you are right. Assassin's Creed 4 did it 1,000 times fucking better. And unfortunately, like if you were thinking of picking this game up, Assassin's Creed 4 does it a lot better. Like the only time when you are in control of your character is when you're in and maybe it does change a bit later. I had no reason to believe it will. But the only way you control your character is when you're at like a town and your character's just going out talking to NPCs. There's no like pirate combat. There's no boarding another ship and like fighting people. Like you can get some of your crew to board enemy ships, but it's just literally just hold X to have your crew board the ship, and then it's like a timer thing.
I don't know, Steve. It sounds like the only thing that gets bored is your character.
I think it's me being bored, putting me right to sleep. But it just...
Does it feel like a quadruple A game?
No, absolutely not. That's absolutely fucking... But for the Ubisoft CEO to say that this is a quadruple A game, I honestly think he has never played a video game in his life.
That's literally just investor talk.
It is 100%, but it's... it's kind of, or at work, I'm a bit of a fuckwit. I always say, let's remain delusionally optimistic. Let's shoot for the moon and we'll go out among the stars. But realistically, if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you're fucked. You're in space. You got no oxygen. You're flying into the sun.
It would take you a while to find the star that you wanted to land on by missing the moon.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you land on it, you realize it's just a flaming ball of plasma and you're fucked. But I don't...
True.
I don't get it.
So, technical question, because I know this is an Ubisoft game. When you want to discover a part of the map, do you have to drag your ship up onto a high point, or does it just unlock the map piece when you sail there?
I didn't really get that far into it, but no, there doesn't look like there is any Ubisoft towers.
So there's no chance of a pirate ship being on top of an Ubisoft tower to unlock part of the map?
No, there isn't. No, because if they wanted...
That's such a shame.
Yeah, if they wanted you to be up in front of a tower, God forbid they'd give you a character a bit more agency. And even when you're controlling your character in the hub towns, it felt very, very much like Anthem. Did you guys play Anthem?
I wasn't a fool.
No.
I got that game for $4 and I got ripped off. It's just like the hub towns only exist for filler. It is literally just to pad out the time between missions. Like you spend all your time in the towns is literally walking to the next menu. And this is exactly what that is. There are so many NPCs in like the local tavern in this town. Not one of them you can talk to. It doesn't sound like they're making any noise. There's just a bunch of NPCs sitting down. There's no noise or anything. And I'm not sure that was a bug or anything. So I'll take the point that might not supposed to be like that. But I just like the town is lifeless except for the merchants or who you need to talk to. But if you need to talk to someone, you're just getting presented another menu.
Is the boundary between that, like let's say that town, that tavern, that hub, and your ship, is that a loading screen, or is that like you just rock up and then camera's like, hey, you're controlling your guy now, go have at it?
No, there isn't. It's pretty smooth. When you go to board your ship, and I'll give this, they've got like when you're in that town, I think it's you hold the B button and it teleports you right back to your ship. So
that's just how the pirates did it. Holy shit.
Yeah, and it kind of like really hits home the point, and it's like, oh, they really don't want me to be in this town. Or like, okay, it's time to go. I've got to go.
Every one of your buttons teleports you back to the ship.
Yeah, pretty much. And the town's like very small as well. Like it'd be like they're probably saving you 5 or 10 seconds. But no, so if you press that button, it takes you back to your ship, and then there's like a menu that it's like, all right, do you want to customize your ship like with different sails or different colors, or put more guns on it, or something, or do you want to repair it because your ship can take damage and you need to repair it or else it's going to sink a lot faster going forward. But there is no loading, so that's good. It's not like a Starfield, press F to fast travel and then press F to be in a loading screen. But my expectation for this game was like overall pretty low, and I think they've kind of managed to roughly
defy it. Yeah.
No, like I expected very little of this game, and it kind of is very little. It's just I'm kind of disappointed that it met my expectations.
What was the other pirate game that had a rough launch?
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Thank you. I've been trying to remember the name of that for ages. Yeah, because that had a rough launch, but as I understand it, people enjoy it now. Is this something? I guess this is sounding like a similar position to where we assumed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was going to be, which is that we saw the early demo and wasn't looking good. And then whether they choose to go back and put it back I don't think they can with Skull and Bones because of just how long it's been. But whether more development time would actually help here, or if it's just a missed mark on the concept.
A bit of both. You can definitely tell there are some parts where it's like, oh, this is a monetization strategy, which is fucking unfortunate.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like there's like capacity you can hold in your storage, and you can like
I love the sound of that.
Yeah, and then to make it better, your ship has like capacity, like carrying capacity, and then you can put it in your warehouse, and it looked like your warehouse has like a finite amount. Did
the open beta let you buy in-game currency?
I don't think so. I didn't see any options, to be quite honest, about buying in-game currency. Like there was a lot of stuff about like, oh, buy the deluxe edition and get this and get X, Y, and Z and get like an XP boost. And I'm like, well, it's paying to skip the game. But no, like I didn't. I'll give it in its credit. I didn't see any like obvious predatory practices or anything. And probably that's because it's not going to be a free-to-play game. It is going to be a
quadruple A game.
Yeah, quadruple A game that you pay for up front. But it is very live servicey. Like it's they needed to put it back in to let it cook a bit more to like think some of the gameplay mechanics. But at the same time, there's been a lot of management of people that don't play video games or are designed to squeeze the live service out of it. Look, Sea of Thieves came around. I remember playing the beta for Sea of Thieves actually like a million years ago.
Did you felt like it was a theft when you played the beta?
I felt like I was seeing something. But the Sea of Thieves
seeing
games,
some skulls and bones.
Yeah, the Sea of Thieves games is designed a little bit differently because it's designed to be like a cooperative experience with friends rather than Skull and Bones, which seems to be more of a sandboxy MMO type of thing.
That was going to be the last question, which is that all the aspects of it being an MMO that you've described, it sounds like the MMO side of it doesn't really do anything. Is that the case? Or was there something that did actually do something being an MMO?
Not that I saw. Like it was, I don't want to say cool, but you could see when you're in that town, you could see other people sort of walking to it, like to the point, like it's like, all right, cool, I've got to speak to this guy to a quest. Oh, look, there's like 20 people it's standing in front of him.
But like that versus say the co-op of I was about to say Skull and Bones, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. Yeah, like with Sea of Thieves, from my understanding, it's like you can get like 4 people together and you can crew a ship essentially. I saw none of that. And I don't really think that would be a thing because like when you're controlling a ship, you're controlling every aspect of a ship. There's no way to be like, oh, I'm going to take my character and move down to the guns so they reload faster or something. There's literally no aspect of that. So
Steve takes the pedals and I take the steering wheel.
Yeah, there's none of that. Like maybe there could be something about like getting like a fleet of ships together, but that would probably be a bit weird because
I believe they call it a posse of ships.
Oh, yeah. No, it is a fleet. I've seen One Piece before. Yeah, like I had my expectations low for this game. They roughly met the expectations, but this game's going to come out and it's going to be a fucking waste. Like, unless they do some drastic changes to like how it's worked and how it's set up, it's just a big old loop. Go out, pick some stuff up, come back, upgrade your ship to pick up more stuff. And the combat wasn't that fun. The Assassin's Creed 4 does the combat a lot better.
Would they do the combat better if they introduced Somali pirates with small outboard motors and automatic weapons?
You know what, Pat? Yes, I wanted a pirate game in the modern age, and I want like those big fucking 4-kilometer long oil tanker ones.
You need to get stuck in the straits while you're going sideways.
Where is shipping simulator?
See, the joke is that piracy is the theft of wealth from the common folk. No, just imagining the idea of like some giant like super tanker, the likes of which pirates could not even fathom, and then one of them on, I guess, like Pirates of the Caribbean's Black Pearl or something, rocks up, sails and all, and tries to broadside it with cannons.
Doesn't even tink the hull.
Yeah, like we're about to come aboard. Like, how? No, it's a shame, but I gotta be totally honest, fellas. Not that surprised based on everything that I've been hearing about this.
Not even hearing, just seeing the game, it's not that surprising it turned out this way.
Yeah, it's definitely a victim of live service. Like, yeah,
isn't this the game that was supposed to like refloat Ubi? Like that's a good shit pun, but refloat Ubisoft.
I'm not sure how much they were betting on it. If they were betting on it, they were fucking dead. Need to
asleep
go
at the pirate wheel.
No, they need to go to the insane asylum.
Honestly, it was keeping them afloat by them just smuggling the Philippines money, Singaporean money into all their other ventures.
Oh, that's right.
True.
Yes, I forgot about that. That's pretty funny. Oh well. Any final words? Any final wrap up?
I don't think I don't recommend this. Actually, you know what? If anybody listening to this podcast does buy this on release, give me $50. You cannot be trusted with your money.
Mail us in, tell us why.
No, and then give me and $50 is staple to that letter.
Yeah, and like, be sure to include lots of glitter or anthrax because Steve will be the one opening it.
Look, all the letters come to me first, so I'll make sure it goes to Steven. At least the letter will. The money's going in my tummy.
Is that the new bit for the week? Is it eating money?
Yum, yum, yum.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea that... Yeah, but the idea that Seth, who will never shut up about not being paid, decides that the best use of literally free money that he could just take is to eat it.
Yeah, but no, if anybody buys this game on release, you don't have to consume for the sake of fucking consuming. Just don't fucking buy this game. You're not missing out on anything. If you really must consume, get Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It's $4. But anyway, what have you guys been up to?
Well, we're going to take that we're going to double it to 8. And actually, speaking of 8, other than the money, Seth has been doing something else with 8 this week. What have you been up to?
I guess that's your subtle lean into Tekken 8.
Tekken 8, 9. Hold on.
No,
Tekken.
That's coming in like 7 years.
Tekken D's
maybe
nuts.
10. But yeah, last time we talked about Tekken 8, we left off. I was just going to ignore it, Patrick. You don't have to acknowledge him.
You're a coward.
I think it was the fact that he said Tekken first, and then you kept talking. He's like, no, I'll bide my time.
I had to wait for a lull in the conversation.
Yeah, found a break. Tekken D's nuts. Silence.
But yeah, last time we talked about Tekken 8, Patrick was about halfway through the story, and it's been 2 weeks since then. Patrick, can you give us a story update?
there was some kung fu fighting.
There was.
It was very frightening. People were fast as thunderclaps, is I think the final part of that saying. Yeah, I like story update. How like what's the synopsis of the second half of the story?
No, more like how far did you get?
Oh, okay, I finished it.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Patrick's finished it now, which means I can go on and talk about how I think the second half of the story is some of the coolest shit that's been done in a fighting game story ever.
So I guess this is your spoiler warning.
This
but
is
also
a spoiler
I'm
warning.
keen to
Yeah.
hear this because it has been a while since I've played a fighting game story. So I'm genuinely curious what some of the coolest shit ever in a fighting game story is because I don't know where the bar is.
Okay, so first off, the last time we talked about this, I believe you said the last thing you did was the Xiao Yu getting invaded by, like, where she is getting invaded by a bunch of Jack robots and you have to fight them off.
No, I think it was Xiao Yu, the person, getting invaded by Jack 8 robots.
Jacking off robots.
Yes.
Would you help your uncle jack off a robot?
No.
Send that to us as well with another $50 note and some anthrax. Yeah, that is where I got to.
Yeah, so directly after that, you have like this big Tekken Force mode, which for people that don't know, Tekken Force was a mini game that was in Tekken 3 and 4. That was basically taking the Tekken gameplay and turning it into a side-scrolling beat-em-up. In this, it's like a big 3D Dynasty Warriors arena that is just you go ham on a bunch of soldiers while dialogue is happening. Not a lot to say there, just the one that I think was really fun was when you get to King and all of your troops on your side are starting to get dejected, and King's like roaring his promo to hype them all up, so they all start chanting his name like they're actually a wrestling crowd, going King, King, King. Greatest shit ever.
That was pretty good. I also have to call out, I know that we talked last time about some of the kind of the dumb moments mixed in with the, I guess, less dumb. I'm not going to say more serious because it's not that serious, but the ups and downs of the story, like comedy.
Yeah, the tonal shifts.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. The one that totally threw me off guard was Raven turning to Lee and go, "We must be seriously."
Yeah. The one that got me as a tonal shift was it's the Azucena and the Law fights. Azucena shows up and it's fighting against Leo, and Leo's just surprised that she's on G Corp's side because they're the villains, and her whole reason for fighting for them is because somehow she's fighting on the side that's literally led by the devil, and she's been convinced that it's good brand optics and she's fighting for world peace. Her coffee is going to spread world peace to everyone. Fucking idiot of a woman, I love her. And then Law pops up and he's also fighting on G Corp's side, even though he hates Kazuya. And it's all because him and Paul decided that whoever won the North American regionals they were going to split the money, and Paul spent it all without giving Law any money. So in this scenario, Paul's actually the bad guy in my eyes. Law was justified to try and kick his ass.
Can't believe we had a villain arc.
Breaking the law, breaking the law. Yeah, I'm not going to contribute to this conversation, but I want people to know that I'm still here. I don't know why I did that.
You know what's crazy is that we just left a pause there for Saif to put whatever he wanted in post. So I hope he fills it with something interesting.
I'll try. I'll see what I can dig up. But yeah, that war section is just kind of a fun thing, fun throwback. A lot of fun interactions are happening there. But after that, you start going directly into Jin's internal struggle with the devil Jin. And something that it does really cool is that it all takes place on this stage that has like 3 tiers of it. In normal gameplay, it's got like, you start off on one level, you can floor break it goes to another level, and then you floor break it again and it goes to this final one. So it's taking that stage and just going, yeah, so you're going to do 3 fights here, and every fight is like going deeper and deeper into his subconscious. So it starts off like, oh yeah, we're in the forest where he grew up, but it's all fucked up. Then the second one is, this is his throne room from Tekken 6. Like, this was his final boss room. And that's a cool throwback. And then the last one is just kind of a wasteland. What I think is really cool is that the first 2 areas you're fighting as Jin going against Devil Jin. But then in the final area, it starts panning the camera down back into that same position where it's Jin on the left and Devil Jin on the right. And the entire game you're trained that, okay, the character on the left is a character you control. But because Tekken is a 3D game, what they can do is take that camera and swing it to the other side of the characters so that it's now got Devil Jin on the left and Jin on the right. So you got to actually play as Devil Jin to try and free Jin from his struggles. And I don't know, something about that camera swing just hit me the right way. I thought it was fantastic and one of the greatest things to happen in like using the video game medium well to tell a story.
Yeah, I'm glad you called attention to that because I absolutely would have otherwise, but 100% agree. Yeah, I don't know if that's... Oh, well, I'm guessing after what you just said, it's not a common thing for a fighting game story to do something like that, but I really appreciated it as well, even as someone who doesn't often play fighting game stories.
Yeah, no.
Question.
Okay, go on.
And it's actually a serious question. I really appreciate fighting games stories, especially, not that they're any good, but like when they've got like a quick time event. Does this have any quick time events?
It does.
It does.
Oh, fantastic. You love
to hear
it. It has
some in the middle of fights. It has some for leading into rounds rounds.
Yep, fantastic. Yep, love it. Love it. The middle of the fight quick time events. Mwah, fantastic.
There's one early on that I'll give an example of. It's like you're fighting Hwoarang in the finals of the Japan regionals, and you have to get hit by his rage art, so it goes through the entire cinematic. But then right before the final hit, it pops up, press X to block the attack. And that's your transition to the next round.
Okay, that's fucking cool. That's cool.
I had my controller down at that point, and I just like fat-fingered like all the buttons on that side of the controller, just freaking out, because I was just not ready for a QTE in the middle of that.
I thought you would have been ready as well after all
cool.
the QTEs in the Kazuya fight, which I think is just one, actually.
You'd think that, but I don't remember if it was the Hwoarang fight or another one, but there was one where like it took me a while to realize that this game intended me to get hit by a rage art. It might have been the Hwoarang fight, it might have been another one. And so like I'm fighting my hardest, right? And the other person's just like in rage just forever. And after a point, it's like, why am I not winning this?
Yeah, it might be the Hwoarang fight because the Kazuya one, he just does his rage art in a cinematic, and then I guess Hwoarang is the first time you actually get hit by one in gameplay. So yeah, something else that I think is really neat is kind of how they twist the evil persona character in these games, because every fighting game basically has here's the main character, but the main character is always struggling with this evil force inside them that at any time can take over them. So you've got Ryu and evil Ryu. And then there's been Jin and Devil Jin, Kazuya and the devil in him. And I think there's a few other examples that aren't coming to the top of my mind, but those are the important examples. And so through all of these revelations, they've gone, you know what? The devil's actually been just a force within Jin. It hasn't been evil. It hasn't been benevolent either. It's just come out whenever he's in danger and just acted on instincts to keep him surviving. And it's just totally chill with whatever he wants to do. If he wants to fight for world peace, it's going to give him its power to fight for world peace. If he wanted to go for destruction, it would have given the power for destruction. It's just whatever. It was always just inside him, and it was all on his own mental state on pushing that power away, thinking it was some sort of cursed evil power that caused it, and turning it around and going, actually no, it was just completely fine the entire time. It was just a character that was being an idiot that stopped it. Is pretty neat. I might have walked around in circles a couple of times there.
No, I again agree. It was useful purely on a mechanical basis of once Jin and Devil Jin decided to like bro fist it out and then become one again. I was back being able to use the Jin combos that I actually knew how to use.
Yep.
Because
all for one
powers
fight,
came back.
And then after that you get Angel Jin.
True. Yeah.
Which another thing I kind of appreciate is that it's not actually like an angel power. It's just, yeah, it's still the Devil Gene. It's just his Kazama bloodline technique of purification has turned it into something else, and angel is the only word that we can use to describe it.
Yeah. We'll say though, that fight and a lot of the fights towards the end of the game kind of sucked for me. I did really well on every fight through the story mode that was character versus character, like as in like characters that you play in Tekken. As soon as it was character versus story specific mini boss, dead on the water, just fucking pants on head, unable to do anything. Like, I don't remember if I took a recording, but one of them, I don't remember if it was the angel fight or just one of the devil Jin fights, but I just got effectively 0 to death. And at the end, it's just like, the game gives you the screen of you lose. And it's just, I had a moment where I just paused there and went, if I could save this replay and load it into training mode, what would it tell me I could have done differently? Because I just felt powerless for the full 30 seconds it took to get my head smashed into the ground.
No, I agree though. Fighting true Devil Kazuya at any point was rough. Like doing it with Reina, I've had a rough time, and then I had that glitch where I mentioned it last time, but I won, but because it was double KO, I actually lost.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
The Angel Jin fight took me... I think I had a little bit of trouble with the Angel Jin fight, but it's also like, once you find it out, you realize that you have specific moves that actually heal you.
Yeah, so I found that out the hard way because I had Supreme Devil Kazuya or whatever it was on the ropes, and then he hits me with one of those moves and he heals, and then he goes into rage and recovers his missing health meter, and then beats the shit out of me and basically went from on death's door to more health than I had.
Yeah.
And then kicked my shit in. And it's just one of those like, dear diary, today I got mad at the fighting game.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do. Slight points on the angel, slight discussion point on the Angel Jin thing as well. At first I wasn't really into it, but in 10 seconds later I was like, this kind of looks like Kane Highwind from Final Fantasy IV, but when he gets like his paladin equipment, so I'm kind of into it. And then like a little later, I was like, you know what, this is a Saint Seiya armor character, so I'm all in on it. And ever since then, I've been going Latinos won with Tekken 8 because they love Saint Seiya.
Cool. Can't really relate, but congratulations. I'm sorry that happened.
And then the Angel Jin and the Devil Kazuya fight ends with like one of the nicest spectacle pieces I've ever seen, where they clash and they're burning so much of their energy it actually makes like wings of light and dark in space, which I thought was really cool looking. And then we go into the final fight, which is just more Jin versus Kazuya, but they've burned out the entirety of their devil powers. Like it's just gone from the universe now. There are no more devil powers. And it ends on the first gameplay reveal trailer, which I think was really neat. Apparently, a lot of people didn't know that this was going to happen, but Harada himself said, yeah, no, we did the gameplay reveal, and it's going to be the final fight of the story mode, and it's just like this big bombastic area where Jin and Kazuya are fighting on a fallen meteorite in the middle of a hurricane and whirlpool storm.
I got all that, and I appreciated the spectacle, but having just gotten my shit kicked in so often, I'm not saying I was expecting it to be a single fight at the end of it, but same token, I also wasn't expecting the like 4th or 5th round where Kazuya's like, yeah, you may have knocked me out, but did you get through all my plot armor? And then just stands up and just walks back. Like he does he basically did the, Henry Cavill reloading his fists in Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Oh man,
he does that like 4 fights in a row, and here I am as Jin, just struggling like anything to get through each fight, just going, what can one man do against such reckless hate? Am I right, fellas?
It's insane because the entire time they're trying to push forward Jin's character with that fight as well. So like you do a round normally, it's just the two of them doing normal stuff. And then after like a round or two, Jin does the cover art pose from Tekken 3 where he's holding onto his gauntlet while lightning shoots out from his fist, and then it reverts him back to his Tekken 3 moveset, which is a plot point that's been going on for like 20 years now, where in Tekken 4 he unlearns the Mishima style karate because he was disgusted with his bloodline. So he just learned traditional karate to stay incognito, and that's been his moveset for 20 years. So it's like a big pop-off moment for people that have been following the story since Tekken 3, basically, that he's gone back and gone, oh no, he's using all of his old Tekken 3 moves again. This is cool as shit.
Because I liked that, but I didn't understand that it had that much significance. I was just like, haha, cool. it's me Dio moment where Kazuya's like, but you're fighting like I do now, and Jin's like, yep, because you have so much plot armor, I just need the power of lightning real quick.
Yeah, and it's a significant moment because he gave up on that in Tekken 4. So him pulling it back out, being like, no, I'm going to use all of my toolkit to beat you is a big moment for him. And then they go even further back and go, okay, you've done a couple of rounds of that. That was fun, wasn't it? Now he's going to use the Kazama style because, of course, he knows his mother's fighting style. She taught him that for 15 years and he's just never used it. And so you start getting like these... And as you're going through, it's also making it easier where it's like, yeah, no, just stand there and you'll auto-parry a bunch of his attacks to the point where... I don't know if you know this, Patrick, but there's a bad ending. It's very hard to get the bad ending.
Shocking, perhaps no one, given how bad I am at fighting games normally. I was very close to getting the bad ending.
Are you sure?
Totally organically. Yes.
Because I did the bad ending to see what it was like, and even if you do pretty badly, they give you a full health recovery on that final round.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you hit that, did you?
I was at the I think it was late one night, and it was one of those like, I'm sure I could just finish the rest of the game tonight, and it felt stupid to what was clearly the finale to be like, you know what, I'm calling it here, I'm going to bed. So it became brain switch off unga bunga button mash, which just meant that I just got like,
oh yeah,
not even countered, but just like the auto parry doesn't work if you're mid attack and you just get your shit rocked.
Yeah.
So,
and during those last couple of phases, he's actually doing pro Mishima moves where he's just doing wave dashes in your face. And if you try to attack him while he's wave dashing and moving like a worm, your attacks will bounce off him and he'll just auto punish you with like the most maximum thing he can do.
And so I'm looking at that and I'm like, I'm not having fun anymore. just let me see the credits.
I looked at that and I almost screamed because, oh my god, this guy is doing waivus. Why is he doing waivus in the middle of a fight? Only pro Tekken players do this shit. Why are you putting me against this? But yeah, it all culminates into a final cross counter that mimics the Namco Bandai logo that they've been using for 13 years at this point, which I thought was really cool visually.
That was really cool. And
then yeah, it's after that it's done. Kazuya supposedly lives because we see Jun show up. Jun is apparently alive still. She didn't die in Tekken 3. And somehow Reina has the devil gene. She unlocked the devil powers. So that's all set up for Tekken 9.
Well, that's because she watched an Italian man die.
No, that's because she got blasted but after the Italian man died. Also, funny thing, in the photo gallery during the first credit sequence, they show that the Italian man is still alive. Him and Zafina still live somehow.
The power of Italians cannot be underestimated. One note on the bad ending. So I did know about the bad ending. I had to go and look it up afterwards. I didn't go out of my way to look up exactly how to get the bad ending. So the bad ending was like, you have to lose a final fight to Kazuya. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I reload into the finale, right? Here we are, punching each other in the face on some meteorite in the middle of some hurricane, well pulled out rock. All that good stuff. When you're Jin and you get like roundhouse kicked into the side of the meteor and you're surrounded by all your friends going, get up, Jin, get up. And there's a quick time event where it's like, press X to get up. And I'm like, aha, here is where I intentionally lose and I unlock the bad ending. No. If you sit there and don't press the quick time event, it just says you lose and then asks if you want to rematch.
That's very good, yeah.
Which I thought was just very funny.
The actual point where you're meant to lose is they do a small cutscene where Kazuya like screams and lightning shoots out from behind him. And then he's just like in permanent rage mode for his entire health bar. That's the round you have to lose. It's the very final one.
Yeah.
And yeah, the bad ending is just he throws Jin off a cliff because that's what the Mishimas do. They throw each other off cliffs.
Something genetic, honestly. Although that does mean that Jin gets to join such esteemed people as Heihachi and Kirby being thrown off cliffs.
Don't forget, Kazuya also threw Ganondorf off one. Ganondorf, Captain Falcon, Min Min.
It would be really funny if, after throwing Jen off the cliff, he does just inflate like Kirby and float back up.
He just gets the wings back and flies away.
No, I know what I said. We're gonna do my thing.
I really hope it wouldn't.
I was gonna say, yeah. So did that. I also finished the rest of the character moments.
Yep. A lot of fun ones in there. They're all goofy.
Yeah, a lot of fun ones in there. I think we talked about our favorite ones. It doesn't change. I really like Dragunov and the Soul Leaving Lee's body and a couple other sort of standout highlights for me.
Paul's one is pretty good where he's late to the tournament.
Yes. Yeah. That one is good. I don't think I've played it after beating that, actually. Yeah. There's a couple achievements that I need to go and do. Like, I played one round of Tekken Ball, but I need to play, I guess, against you or against someone where I can do enough hits that I get the trophy for, I guess, max attack Tekken Ball, that sort of thing. A couple to clean up, but otherwise, I'm pretty well through the single player content of the game. Definitely fun, but I got exactly what I wanted out of it, and so now it's I'll pick it up and play it every so often. / get my ass kicked by Seth every so often. But don't feel the burning need to play it every day, which I'm really glad about, because otherwise, holy shit, my time management would be even worse than it is now.
I do have that burning need. I've hopped online a couple of times. My king
I'm now scared to fight you.
My king is rusty as fuck. But I'm trying
we watched you play before. You weren't very good, Steph. You got to get better at that.
Yeah, no. That Hwoarang I fought earlier absolutely destroyed me. I got a couple of good rounds in. It was close.
You got one game.
Call him a slur.
1 game out of 6. You got flogged.
No, I got like 3, I think, but it was across the 2 games.
Oh, I can't remember. It was all a blur to me. So I was just crying the whole time. I didn't know you were that bad.
But yeah, my king, I need to learn how to do more than one combo with him. And yeah, it's been a good time. I need to do the arcade quest as well. The arcade quest is probably where I'm going to learn a lot more about the game, besides just hopping into practice mode and trying some shit. But I'm very happy with this game. Very glad it turned out the way it did.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Very fun. Right, I guess that wraps up Tekken 8, but there's a different sort of fight that we've been involved with for, I guess it's a slightly older fight now, a war perhaps, rather than a fight, where I'm trying way too hard to make the segue work. We played Valhalla. We're going to chat Valhalla.
The DLC that was that the one that was shadow dropped?
Yeah, it was. That was a shadow drop.
God of War Valhalla for those playing at home. It's not some new game just called Valhalla.
God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC. Shadow dropped.
God of War Ragnarok DLC Valhalla.
God of War Ragnarok the charts because of how good the DLC is. Thanks, Jeff Keighley 789.
God of War my balls.
Yeah, I think we're going to call it that instead, Steve. Congrats.
Yay.
A couple of cliff notes from me. I would overall say I enjoyed my time with it. However, there are multiple parts that I don't know if I would say I didn't like or if I just wanted more from. What did you think of it, Seth?
I'd say it's probably a wanting more from, because structurally I wasn't a fan of how this game was structured. Well, this DLC. It's free, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah, exactly. So, big caveat, it was free shadow dropped DLC that we are very thankful to Santa Monica Studios for doing, because free DLC is better than no DLC. But being critical of the experience that we got is now the frame of the discussion, because I have some thoughts as someone who quite enjoys roguelikes.
Yeah, and so I think the biggest thing is that there's only 2 areas. You have the Valhalla Norse area, and then after 2 runs, I think it is, because they essentially force you to quit a couple of times. But yeah, after 2 runs, you get into a section that's using the Greek areas of God of War 1 and using the Greek God of War enemies. And instead of Mimir, you got Helios, because in God of War 3, you cut off Helios' head and had him on your belt for that game, which I thought was a neat callback.
It was.
But yeah, generally, I think it was like I wasn't a fan of it. Okay, so yeah, I've already said that part, but yeah, we're going to get into spoilers, obviously. I wasn't. What the fuck was that?
I don't know. That just made me make a funny.
That was the spoiler warning. You've been warned.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of how many times it's like, okay, you cleared a run, but the run was like you hit a certain checkpoint, and then the next time you did a run, it's like, okay, we'll let you go a little bit further this time. All right, you cleared that. We'll let you go a little bit further again, and it felt kind of repetitive doing that, and it gets even more repetitive where after you finish the main story, it's like, okay, you can still do full clears, but you need to do it about, like, I think it's like 6 to 9 times to get the rest of the post-story, and it didn't feel worth it doing that either. Like, the payoff didn't feel worth doing all those runs, and by the time you're doing, like, your third run of the full experience, I feel like it's played out and you've seen everything that the DLC has to offer.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think wanting to draw special attention to the end fight, where just because you beat, why am I blanking on his name? Tyr. Thank you.
Kratos.
Yeah, just because you beat Kratos off, it doesn't mean that. Wait, hang on.
Huh?
No. So
would
the final.
Would you help your Uncle Kratos off a horse?
Jesus.
Just wait, everyone. He's going to make that joke once more during this episode, so you can find out where.
3 times a charm.
Yeah, really gets good after the 5th time. Trust me. Yeah. So the final fight's with Tyr, and it's
probably tell him to tear up if he's crying.
Yeah, all of that. So it is the checkpoint thing that Seth's talking about, but it's also a little bit. It's almost a little bit more annoying than that, which is that you beat Tyr, which is effectively the final boss, and so Tyr's like, okay, you've beat me. Congratulations. You can go and see what's inside the door now. And so Kratos goes and opens the door, goes mad and dies, and does that multiple times until he learns not to go mad looking through the door. And then once he goes through the door and doesn't go mad, then the game's like, you did it, congratulations.
Yeah.
But there's no like progression there. You've reached the end. It's just you didn't reach the end enough to actually end it. And that feels frustrating as a player.
Yeah, it's you reached the end, but the game still wanted more story to tell. Kratos still has more trauma to work through. And so yeah, it's just like, I reached the goal. There should be a reward here, and the reward doesn't feel justified enough. Like,
and the reward is just a therapist chair and Tyr going, come in and sit down.
Hades does the same thing. You beat Hades, and then you die and you reset, and you gotta clear it a couple of times to see the full story. The problem is that every time you do a clear in Hades, every time you fight Hades and win, you get like a decent story payoff before the next run starts. It doesn't feel like this has enough of a story payoff. It's just like, by the way, did you know that Kratos did this in the Greek games? Here's a different perspective of how we think you could interpret this moment, instead of going, oh yeah, Kratos was always a bad guy. And that's not as interesting as what Hades does. And this DLC is very obviously mimicking Hades because that's a popular roguelike.
And Greek mythology based as well.
Yeah. And so it feels like they've looked at Hades' homework and then copied it, but copied it wrong, or like only half completed it.
So there's 2 points that I want to call out with the Hades comparison. So one, again, agreed. It felt very Hades inspired, particularly with the different areas. Like, you get through the area and you're like, congrats, you've progressed to the next plane of existence, Greece. Here is a Giro. But in terms of what Hades does better is that you're not just getting the central story of the Zagreus Hades story arc, but you also get more character moments with other characters. And you do sort of, to Valhalla's credit, get a little bit of that as well. But the main story delivery you get is by talking to 2 of the Valkyrie and Queen and the Queen Valkyrie as well.
Sigrun.
And so Sigrun, thank you. Yeah.
The other two I've forgotten the names
today.
of, but Sigrun is the big important one.
Yes, yeah. And so there's kind of two things, which is that you fall into wanting to figure out the rest of Zagreus Hades' story because it's just interesting, and it's sort of told in like a fun, kooky way of like, you're Zagreus, you just want to escape, why? And other things sort of unfold. Here, so much of the story is kind of wrapped, and this is exploring Kratos' past. There isn't really a drive to unlock the story or progress the story in the same way. And the problem with how the Valkyrie tell their little snippets of the story is that they're effectively telling you one long story, but they only give you the next chapter. And so I'm sure you could go back and like read through what the transcript of what they said previously.
I don't think you can actually.
Okay, well, in that
I think
case,
you just
that's way
need to
worse.
memorize it.
But it's really it's an interesting storytelling choice when after finishing a run you go and chat to a Valkyrie and a Valkyrie out of the blue is like, I bet you want to hear how the next part of the story goes. And you're like, sure. And then you just stand there and listen to part of the Valkyrie's life story, and then you move to the other one, and then onwards you go. I think overall, the main issue I have with what Valhalla was doing as a roguelike is that I think the best roguelikes are one where if you think about the difficulty, they start hard, and then it's not that they get easier, it's that you get more powerful than the difficulty of what you're progressing to. Because in my head, the most fun runs I had in Hades were ones where I could have a build that really came together and I felt really strong.
Yeah.
Even if that build wasn't able to turn itself into something that could defeat Hades, because I just, something happens, I die before I can get to the end, or I get a bad room spawn. Shit happens. That's all fine. The problem with the God of War combat style, and this is kind of what I complained about in Ragnarok, which is that God of War is really good at visceral kind of big men punching each other until one falls over type combat, and it isn't as good when you have to do multiple enemy fights, but it still feels really good when you're doing these big extended fights. It doesn't fit into a roguelike box very well if you have to do a lot of traversal through areas between encounters, which you do have to do quite a bit of traversal, and it just feels slow because you're sort of exploring, but as Seth's already said, you've already seen everything. You're just exploring for the sake of smashing pots for more currency, which I don't mind doing, grinder's got to grind, but...
Yeah, the Greek areas might as well just be you run in a circle to go to every arena and hit all the special doors that have unlocked as you progress, just so you have more currency before you go fight tier to do whatever unlocks you want.
It feels very you find the efficient route and you just stick with it. But more problematically, the build structure of Valhalla is based off of which of the three weapons you want to kind of prioritize or specialize in, but none of the perks that they give you such good synergy that you feel like you had a particularly memorable build. Now, there are a couple of exceptions to this that I found from, I don't know how many runs I've done of it, but there were definitely probably 2 or 3. Mostly Spear, I think.
See, Spear is the one that I have the hardest time with. I had good runs with the Axe and the Chains of Chaos, and that's specifically because the blades...
Axe.
Yep, go on.
Sorry, and I was thinking of Axe. Axe was the one that I had the best run with. But the problem is the best runs... So, when I talk about what I wanted more from in terms of a roguelike game here, they give you modifiers, which is common in roguelikes. That's all fine. I was really hoping that the modifiers would do something different to the games, rather than just giving you what would conceivably be in the games. And so when the combat is based around viscerally, like you've only just made it through each encounter, it's all about the struggle and the hardship and perseverance and all that sort of thing, it becomes really grindy really fast when, even though you're becoming stronger with your build, the enemy difficulty is kind of matching that, and you don't exceed that difficulty cap and then have a build that really feels like it comes into its own and get going. Now, again, had a couple runs where that was the case, but what I wanted was like kooky modifiers or stuff that would really kind of play up into not necessarily silliness, but really feeling like, I guess, embrace the meme, feeling like the God of War, whereas you still feel like Kratos just sort of going through a Kratos game. Which is just like, it's so close. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The one that
What were you going to say with your build? So you said that you had a hard time with the spear, but you got some good chains and axe builds going.
Yeah, and it's on that kind of point as well. It's like these don't really feel like they're unique things. They just feel like they're modifiers you could have found in the game. Like the thing that always helped me with the Leviathan axe was just like, oh yeah, so if you have permanent permafrost meter, then every attack you do with the Leviathan axe is just going to heal you on hit. And that doesn't feel like a unique sort of roguelike thing. That feels like something that might have been in the game already with some sort of equipment. And the Blades of Chaos had this one where it's like, oh, if you're mashing triangle, then whatever projectiles are coming are just going to get deflected away. And those are like the two most unique things I can think of the top of my head that the roguelike mode has, and they're not that interesting.
Yeah, I got some really good ones going with sprinting gives you a shield, and the sprint heavy attack jump does more damage and blasts people backwards. And then it just became cliff rushing people, which was so much fun.
Yeah, I can see that being fun.
Sprinting around with the axe and just cliff rushing people was an excellent time. But yeah, again, I just sort of wanted... I wanted the tools to create more memorable builds than I got. And I also have a secondary gripe with how they did the light and heavy attacks, which, thinking about it, is kind of like how Hades did special attacks, in that you kind of have a special gauge that builds up over the entire run. But you still, like, maybe this is just a thing with how I played God of War, but using special attacks always felt like something that I needed to do as a get out of jail card, rather than a I have this tool, I can use it when I want card. And that punishes you when you're playing in a roguelike fashion, because you always suspect that if you use it at the wrong time, you're going to get punished for that, even if by every chance it was going to replenish by the time you actually needed to use it to get out of jail.
Yeah, I can see that. I had to get out of that same mindset, because I also had that where it's like fighting... I mostly use them when fighting the big one-on-one bosses or sub-bosses.
Exactly. Yep.
And then in the roguelike mode, I had to just kind of get used to, oh no, I'll just use them to try and quickly clear up a mob room, because... Oh yeah, the Greek part of this, you're on a timer, and every time the timer ticks down, it gets harder by a level, and I think it caps out at like 5? 4 or 5?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, 5.
So you want to clear out all the encounters in the Greek area as fast as possible to keep that low.
And some of those encounters are frustratingly designed.
Yeah, there was one I had that was really bad, where it's like, here's a Cyclops and 2 brutes that have shields and a Minotaur. Yeah,
or that was definitely an annoying one. Even it wasn't that it was that bad on its own, but just 2 elites that biased always wanting to shield. That encounter takes ages because you want to play quickly, and the encounter is literally designed to stop you playing quickly.
Yeah.
And it feels more frustrating than it needs to, because it's just a game decision. It breaks the pacing that you're trying to keep up when you're faced with an enemy that's just sitting there with a shield up, and you're like, can you just stop playing like a bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not to say that I... Thank you. Yeah, it's not to say that I didn't have fun overall with it. It was really fun, particularly the exploration of going through it, but as you say, a lot of God of War is the kind of climbing around exploring these cool locations, and they borrow the location areas, but the climbing around exploring only works the first couple times you go through an area, or like finding the different sealed doors and that sort of thing. And after that, it's just, okay, I need to get from where I am to one of the 2 or 3 doors that will take me to the next area, and at minimum, it will take me 20 to 30 seconds to get there. And that 20 to 30 seconds is you just sprinting through the area, not taking anything else into notice, because every, like, the time that you aren't running to the door is time that you're wasting.
Hell, 20 to 30 seconds feels like it's still an exaggeration of how short it could be, because it would only take that long if I was like, okay, the Mimir's talking, I'm going to stop and listen to what he's saying before I move on to the next door.
me paused by the door.
Yeah.
waiting for him to stop talking.
I watched someone play the DLC as well, and I got really frustrated watching them because they just walked into the door while Mimir was mid-sentence, and I was like, oh, you're missing story.
I had that once where Mimir paused. He paused to like take a breath, but I thought that was the end of the story piece. And then as soon as I open the door, I hear him start talking, and then it pauses as it goes into the loading area, and I'm like, no.
But yeah, it's a neat mode. There's a lot of story there that's decent. It just feels like they crammed a lot in there that the amount of content that they put in doesn't support it.
Yes. Yep.
And then they also, and then if you want to do it afterwards, there is a post story that's about some other characters getting their endings done as well, like their character endings done. And yeah, that drags out more. I feel like that you got to do more runs to finish those than you do for the Kratos story. I feel like, and by that point, I'm just kind of in a state where I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of doing this to see this through. I'm just rushing through this as fast as I can to get to the end of the story. I'm just going to pick the things I know that works, and it's no longer fun. It's just playing it to get to an ending and trying to be as efficient as possible. And wasn't a great time.
Yeah, it's a game that you want to micro-optimize your build for, but the game doesn't give you the tools to make micro-optimizing a worthwhile endeavor. And so you just get stuck in this middle ground of enjoying it, but wishing that there was more.
Yeah.
Overall, for a free DLC, absolutely worth recommending, in my opinion. It's just one of those, like, so close.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe one extra area would have helped. Or maybe varying up the things that happen in the Greek section would help.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily a new area. It's a change to the design of what the second part of the roguelike looks like.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's different modes for Tyr in terms of, like, which weapon he prioritizes and stuff. I had some troubles.
There's one combination, because at some points you'll fight Tyr and he just starts pulling out two weapons. Like, he'll start the fight with one. You'll get him down to halfway, and then he'll switch to another. I think it's the weapon that looks like Sly Cooper's cane. I'm not sure what they're called.
I forget what it's called as well.
A scythe?
No.
It's like a hook blade.
Yeah.
It's got two parts, the hook and the blade.
Yeah, but he's holding two of them, and I think that's, in particular, lets him, like, cast a darkness over the battlefield, and you have to fight from within 3 certain rings.
Yeah.
Neat when that's the only weapon he's using, and it's just, like, for one section. Not neat when he starts the fight like that, and then he goes into a stronger weapon, and that gimmick still applies to the entire battlefield.
The first time I hit that mechanic, didn't know about the light being in a spot that you could stand and therefore not be blinded. So I was just fighting Tyr blind.
That's also an acceptable route. I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, it was... There were definitely a few moments where I lost on like 1 HP, which, because it's me, doesn't surprise me at all, but also super frustrating.
I think on my final, I need to beat Tyr to get the actual ending of Kratos' story. That happened to me. He was on 1 HP as well, and I could not hit him.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy. I've been there. Anyway, I'm good to move on from Valhalla.
Yeah, me too. I think I got out what I needed to.
You guys didn't really sell me on this.
It's free DLC. Shut up and play it.
Yeah, right. I don't have the game.
Get a PS5.
It's a free.
I'll tell you why to get a PS5 later in the podcast.
And just because I'm about to get hit by Who Asked from Steve, but I realize here we are, however many minutes into this episode, I have in fact played something recently. Not this week, but last week. I played a little bit of Left Behind, another roguelike.
Oh yeah, you teased that last episode too.
Shit. Well, it's going to be another episode until I talk about it, because played that a bit. Spoiler, do not like that roguelike very much at all. And interestingly, after talking through the Valhalla points, a lot of them apply to Left Behind, but
you have to pay $10 minimum for this one.
Besides the price, just purely design optics.
No, that's what I mean.
Discussions.
That's a joke I was making. It's got the same design faults, but this time you've got to pay $10 for it.
Yeah. No, I've had a few discussions about different design kind of ideas or what they could have done with this, and I gotta be honest, I think I'm right on some of them. So I'll make a note to actually talk about it next week. I think even if I wanted to talk about it this week, we are well overdue because we have to get to the news. So,
do you reckon they play video games up in space? It's legitimately great. Like, imagine you're like on like the International Space Station or something. You're like, yeah, you know what? I feel like playing like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but then you go to open it and it's like, oh fuck, I got to update. Oh shit, there's no internet in space.
No. You know what it is? It's one of those. You remember those ones you could get at like a Target or something, where it's like 150 games and you can plug it into any TV, and it's the RCA, the like red, white, and yellow cables.
Yeah, the RGB ones. Yeah,
I reckon it's that.
You're probably right. They probably put it on the screen, and like, but the International Space Station can't tell what they're doing.
They projected it onto the moon, but it's on the backside of the moon, so we can't see it.
Yo, imagine you're in a spacecraft and you're going past the International Space Station, and you both have wireless adapters for the Game Boy Advance.
You get a street pass.
You get a street pass. You're in space and you get a street pass. You're like, Houston, is there anyone else up here? They're like, no, why?
Oh, this guy's in a spaceship too. And it's just like your me gets delivered.
I mean, hey, I don't know about you guys, but astronauts also need the Aeon ticket in Alpha Ruby Alpha. Wait.
Omega Ruby.
So Patrick, when we end this at 1 o'clock in the morning, I want you to remember it was Steven that did this to you, not me.
Speaking of things that people want to do to me, that's a weird segue. Live and in the field. I don't know where I'm going with that one. Saif, what's the JRPG gamer sales report?
We got 3 JRPGs that came out within like a week of each other.
I thought we don't call them that anymore. Isn't that a slur?
For the convenience of people that do not know about this, we just refer to them as JRPGs. But yes, a lot of Japanese developers are like, no, we don't like that term. It's just RPG over here. Yeah,
I just wanted to make you uncomfortable. Thanks, big fella.
It's like, okay, Steve's already derailed this. I don't mind throwing another story in there. I was at a sleepover at a mate's place back when I was like 12.
This can get very rogue very quickly. I'm all in.
And so he and his family are English, and I'm a big fan of English muffins. So color me shocked when they ask if I want a muffin for breakfast, and I go, yes, please, and they give me an English muffin, and I had to stop myself from going, what are you doing? That's an English muffin. Because to them, it's just a muffin. Man, they live differently. They really do. But they're just like us, you know?
Except British, which makes them inherently evil.
Probably got fucked up teeth or something. Try your shoes there, governor. They all sound like.
Now that one I'm pretty sure is actually racist.
Also, if I had a muffin license.
Being racist to British people. Oh, man. Where won't we go fast travel lounge?
Anyway, so this RPG game sales report.
Yeah, so in the span of like a week or two, Persona 3 Reloads, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Grand Blue Relink all came out. And at this point, they've all surpassed 1 million sales, which is very good to see.
Considering that one of them is like a remaster, like Persona 3, it's also interesting as well to take that I think both Like a Dragon and Persona 3 are on Based Pass. Maybe Like a Dragon isn't. Nobody fact check me on that. I don't want to be wrong. But yeah, like it is pretty good, especially like Persona 3. And Persona 3 is the fastest selling Atlas game as well. Yeah, no, very, very positive. But it's interesting as well, and I'll note that I am taking this from a Twitter comment, so please feel free to argue against it. But like they're reporting like 1 million copies sold in the first week is like a major accomplishment.
Cancelled.
Like, cool, fantastic. But no, they report like 1 million copies as like a fantastic achievement. But like in the West, if a game doesn't sell 1 million copies, it's like, whoa, man, what a flop, what a shit game. And it's probably just
budget differences.
Yeah, literally budget differences, which is very, very hysterical. Which considering the amount of shilling I've seen for Persona 3 Reload, I'm just literally, I cannot go onto a website without seeing like 40 ads, like a banner ad, a brief 10-minute Sting ad. There'll be like one of those ads that break up the text on the page. It's just fucking everywhere.
Those ones.
Yeah, no.
I tried looking at some Tekken stuff before, and one of those hit me, so I instantly closed the website, which is why I didn't have any King combos today. That's why I didn't have any.
Marketing works. But yeah, like we'll never see it. Or maybe it does exist and I'm too lazy to look it up. But I'd love to see like budget breakdowns and like how much is spent on marketing? Like to think like how much did it cost? Like The Last of Us 2, that was in like the hundreds of millions to make and develop and all that kind of stuff.
Spider-Man 2 was about 200 million, I think. And it was so much more than Spider-Man 1. And the president of Insomniac was even like, yeah, we've spent all this money and I don't think it's actually going to impact the player. Like, the player's probably not going to be able to tell the difference between how much more we've spent on this game.
Yeah, but like it's just kind of like interesting how like the budgets and sales metrics go. But I will in a weird kind of defense. I'm pretty sure all three of these games are like multi-platformer. So they're on like everything except for the Switch. So maybe that helps with sales. Exclusivity wars are the thing of the past, it seems.
We'll get to that at the end.
As well?
What'd you say, Pat?
Are they on the Switch as well?
Allegedly they're supposed to be coming out on the Switch too. Persona 3 is anyway.
Yeah, Persona 3 is a weird one because they leaked the cover-up on the Switch and it never got announced.
Maybe they didn't want it to run at 10 frames a second. They probably used the money for Pokemon instead.
That have been announced. Something that I did not expect to say the sentence today. Elden Ring might be getting a mobile game. This seems sus. Rather
unnecessary.
Sus. And it's by Tencent. So
I hate mobile gamers so much. They're not real gamers. There you go, I said it.
I mean, he's brave for saying it.
Weird take, but what's the downside of this game existing? I mean,
okay, so you played it. We've all played Elden Ring. We all like it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Imagine playing that on a touchscreen.
Yeah, you've lost me.
Yeah, fine, but
yeah, that's
what's the problem? Does Melania also not have a phone? Which actually she wouldn't be able to use because of fucking arm. But I guess what I mean is because this is something that Tencent's doing, and assuming completely separate to like Elden Rings. So the whole thing is like people are still waiting for the DLC Shadow of the Tree. Yeah, fine. But because this is Tencent doing it, it's not like them going, hey, we know that the DLC is coming soon, but what if we surprise dropped a mobile game that we've been working on for you guys, right? It's not like they're, I assume, shifting development resources to the mobile game. It's just IP being taken and run with by a larger, well, I actually don't know about the relative side. I assume larger because Tencent's fucking ginormous.
Yeah, no, Tencent's one of the bigger players in the video game market at the moment.
Yeah, but a giant mobile game developer just making a game in the world kind of totally separate to what From Software's doing.
Look, if this is real, and like, I'm not saying it is, because I don't really fucking see how it works. I don't really see like what's the purpose? Like it's like the article from IGN. Why the fuck are you using an IGN article, Seth, man? Come on. It's described as like the progress is being slow. So whatever that means, maybe it comes out in the next 3 or 4 years. The lightning's already escaped the bottle. They're not going to get it again. Like I don't really understand like the purpose of this, unless it's like a pay $10 to get an extra Estus flask or whatever they're called in this game. I can't remember.
Maybe. I mean, if you'd said a year ago that Monster Hunter Now was a mobile game for Monster Hunter, I would have been like, I don't really get how that works. That seems dumb because you'd be playing a Monster Hunter game with a touchscreen. And Monster Hunter Now works reasonably well. So I'm not saying it's going to be one-to-one Elden Ring, but I also, after how good Monster Hunter Now is, don't want to rule it straight out, especially because if this is all contingent on if I'm right about them not using development resources, right? Like if they're taking stuff away from the DLC to go produce a mobile game, die in a hole. I hate you. But if Tencent's willing to go, let's just see how this goes. If it flops, haha, Tencent dumb. If it does well, cool. Elden Ring was a really good game. So
yeah, I imagine they'd be using one of their own internal teams to do this. And they also, in the article, say they want to aim for it to work similarly to Genshin, which...
Yeah.
I don't know, even with the Elden Ring, I guess that could work, maybe?
Gatch it up to the eyeballs.
Yeah, the gacha options will be up insanely. It'd probably all be weapon stuff, too. Which boss do you want to fight?
Yeah, no, it'll be which boss are you fighting? Roll the gacha, but the good gacha is an easy boss.
The gacha is rolling for weapons and the summons. I forget what they're called. The echoes?
Tears? I can't remember. Doesn't
Here's
matter.
the God of War guy, Steve.
Oh,
But yeah, it'll be weird to see if it comes to fruition.
Yeah, it will, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Like, technology-wise, I don't see why it couldn't happen because at the moment we're getting Resident Evil 4 remake on phones somehow. Elden Ring doesn't seem too out of the market. It's just how do you convert that to touchscreen is what I'd want to see.
I'd say an absolute dog shit way, but whatever. We'll see.
Cool. Well, speaking of things that Steve thinks are dog shit, you have a bunch of fighting game news to share, Seth.
I do. Steven, go to sleep.
Let me get my nightcap on.
Remember to use blackout curtains.
No, they call eyelids, big fella.
Yeah, so first up, just real quick, Ed is coming to Street Fighter 6. He's launching February 27, which I think is right after the Capcom Cup. And
Ed and Eddie.
Yes. Ed
Go to sleep.
Ed is a boxing character. He looks like Eminem, and that's all you really need to know about him. Besides, his theme song is a German rap song.
Nice.
And then following that, we got the EVO 2024 lineup. EVO 2024 is happening July 19 to 21, and the games that they're going to have this year are Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Guilty Gear Strive, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Under Night in Birth 2, Mortal Kombat 1, King of Fighters 15, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. This isn't very surprising.
Yeah, I was going to say, are there any of these that actually surprise you?
No, the most surprising one is Street Fighter 3 being the throwback game of the year. But even then, I think they hinted at this a little while ago. Like, this was so on the nose that when they announced that they were going to be doing the announcement stream, I was like, all right, here's my 8 predictions. I got every single one right. Because these are all just current games. The only thing that was up in the air was like, is King of Fighters the one that's going to get dropped, or is Dragon Ball FighterZ the one that's going to get dropped? And I had a feeling it was going to be Dragon Ball. That game's past its prime.
I'm surprised at that because they just rolled out rollback netcode for that.
No, they haven't. They did a beta, and then they delayed the rollback netcode.
Ah, all right then. All the best.
But yeah, that's Evo. Evo news done.
Sweet. And speaking of fighting, you fight with fists. Fists have knuckles. Oh, look. Knuckles live action series is premiering in a couple months.
April 26th.
You've had better, big fella.
This is the year of Sonic 3 and Knuckles both coming out as well.
No, yeah. Yeah, Sonic. When's that Sonic, the third Sonic movie coming out?
December.
Probably soon. December. Yikes.
Yeah, no, this seems interesting. I'll give it a check out, but I'm not expecting a lot out of this. You know, the really big exciting thing is that they got his little hat from the Sonic OVA movie in this. His little cowboy hat. But yeah, the trailer doesn't really say much about what this is going to be about, except that there's like a group of people that have Knuckles spikes so that they can use his strength in equipment.
Cool. Good on him.
Really not sure how to follow that up, honestly.
Yeah.
Although, having said that,
Happy Knuckles Day to all to celebrate.
Thanks, Steve. I also don't really know how to follow up Helldivers 2 because, as I said earlier, I've heard about this game, but I know basically nothing. However, I feel like I should know something about it because it's now PlayStation's biggest PC launch ever.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, cool, but it feels wrong.
So I'm going to roll the 2 Helldivers articles into one talking point here. Basically,
oh yeah, go on.
Basically, what's going on with Helldivers 2 is that it's the most successful PlayStation launch on PC, beating things like Spider-Man and God of War and Horizon.
So this is popular.
Yeah, it's popping off pretty well. A couple of things that might be leaning into why is because this is day and dates with the PS5 version and not like 2 to 3 years later.
Yeah, that's true. And
also, this is like a co-op shooter game, which is tailored to the PC market more than the other games are, that I feel. And Helldivers 1 had a pretty good PC community, so a lot of them have come over to Helldivers 2 with not much issue. The thing is that with all this...
there have been some issues.
Yeah. With all this success, there's been a lot of problems with the game's servers, and to the point where it's like there's so many people trying to log in that the rewards aren't unlocking for certain people. And they're trying to fix these issues, but they've just been mitigated but not resolved according to the developers.
Do you reckon this is because they didn't do like a proper network test? Like, do they expect it to be this popular?
They didn't expect it to be this popular, so the amount of people coming in is just overloading their servers. So I gave that statistic on Steamcharts earlier where it was like, what did I say, 190k were on Steam. Their servers can hold a concurrent player count of 360,000 people. They keep hitting that peak. They can't have, so the game's more popular than what their servers can allow into the game.
Yeah, it's pretty real. I'm suffering from success, as they say in DJ Khaled.
The game has also reached 1 million sales across PlayStation and PC.
And it's a Western game, you said?
It is a Western game, but this one's from Europe, not USA.
I can't believe it failed. I can't believe it's failed only getting 1 million sales.
It's an ERPG.
That definitely sounds like a slur. We'll have to wait and see.
I said what I said.
Their stuff. Yep. And speaking of people saying things that they said, Square Enix is planning on a major reform of their game development structure. I think this was a long time coming. I think they hinted at something like this a while ago, didn't they?
I think so, yeah. There's not a lot to go on with this one. It's just like, hey, they've told their investors that they're going to restructure the company, which they've done a little bit in the past already, like how they folded the Lumina Studios into their other Square Enix business divisions.
Do you reckon it's what was I trying to say here? I lost it. Do you reckon it's just they're doing some changes to stop themselves being acquired?
No, I don't think it's anything like that. And Square Enix is like, besides just making games, they're a big media company. Like, they do figures, they do anime and manga, so you'd have to be acquiring all of that as well if you were to try and acquire Square Enix.
That's true.
Hey, if Elon wants to toss some money around, it would be funny.
I'd be very upset if Elon got it.
I highly doubt. Imagine X.
Happening pretty quickly after they announced that, Square Enix also absorbed Tokyo RPG Factory back into themselves. This was a small RPG studio that split off from it. Well, Square Enix made this. It wasn't really a split off. They made like 3 RPGs since 2014, and none of them really took off all that well, so Square Enix has just reabsorbed all those employees back into the main branch.
All the best to Square Enix's investors. I don't know what to say, so I'm trying to be funny. Am I working? Am I being funny? Or am I just making it weird?
We have, while the audience tries to figure that out, we have another couple acquisitions.
Actually, hang on. Whoa.
Oh, boy.
The Square Enix director and president, their last name is Kiryu. Like Kazuma Kiryu from Yakuza. Like a Dragon series.
Yeah, but that's a Sega franchise.
Yeah, I know this. This isn't cool. He's playing for the enemy here.
Steven, put an eye gun back on.
Yeah,
right. Right, well, if we're good to move on.
Pray for the best.
The Kadokawa Corporation has acquired... Acquire. Man, they really fucked me with the headline for that one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All the best next time.
Yeah, Acquire's an interesting studio. I think they're like a studio that's helped develop other games. Like they're not main developers, but they're a support studio. So interesting to see them getting picked up. As for Kadokawa, I'm not 100% sure what they do besides the No More Heroes games and owning a stake in From Software.
From what software, sorry?
Patrick, is he setting me up for a bit?
I can't tell. You're going to have to take one for the team and figure it out.
I'm just going to ignore him. We can move on to the next article.
Probably for the best. I'm still trying to be funny. I'm just on machine gun fire at the moment. Like I'll eventually get the target.
Well, speaking of machine gun fire, Disney just wanting to collect even more
Mickey Mouse,
IP.
no, you can't shoot him.
Oh, I can try.
He's fair game in the creative domains now. We can do anything we want to him.
How will this impact the Kingdom Hearts universe?
There's a Kingdom Hearts horror movie being made right now.
Kingdom.
Excuse me while I go throw up.
Anyway, continue with the story. I'm going to shut up for a second.
Anyway,
Actually, just
while
one more
throwing
thing.
up.
Physically can't stop myself. Okay, go on. No, I'm being serious this time.
Patrick, if you just keep going, I can cut him out.
Well, Disney was, funnily enough, also dead serious about acquiring $1.5 billion worth of Epic Games, which means that Fortnite is about to get another 17 seasons of random cameos. So look out, Kingdom Hearts will be able to fight Nicki Minaj, who will be able to fight 3 different Spider-Men, who will be able to fight, what else we got? Nathan Drake in there. We also just have regular Drake in there, don't we?
Got Goku.
I've lost. Oh, and Rick and Morty.
Yep, Rick and Morty.
And Naruto.
Yep, Superman as well.
Ariana Grande. Can't forget her.
Yep, that's true as well. I think Soulja Boy as well.
So this isn't going towards an acquisition. This is an equity stake. So Disney's just bought $1.5 billion worth of shares in Epic. And with those shares, they're going to start using those, like, they're going to start throwing their weight around and going, hey, we want Epic to start doing this stuff to help the Disney brand.
Yeah, because the Disney brand is no bueno. It wouldn't be surprised if they've got like more Star Wars crossovers coming to Fortnite, all that kind of stuff. Probably like Disney songs that are in that weird rock band thing they've launched in Fortnite. It's just Fortnite
didn't they take
stuff.
that down though?
No, they took Rock Band down because they've got a successor, for lack of a better word, in Fortnite. Because God forbid you have something that exists outside of Fortnite. Look, as much, I love mega conglomerations as much as the next guy. Let's be real. But I don't know. It's.
Do you love Disney though?
Epic joke.
What about
epic?
What about Datney?
Epic, bro. Epic. But yeah, like I'm interested to see where this goes. Only from the sense of like they're probably like Epic Games is like one of the biggest kind of developer publishers now, and Disney's the biggest, whatever that is. Can't wait to see what they do.
Sort of depends on how we define biggest, right? Because this is also on the back of Epic letting go of, what was the number for this one?
A couple thousand, wasn't it?
So tragic we're doing it either in thousands or just % of the company. But like a lot of people let go. And all of their projects like refocused as well, I think. Anyway, we covered it in a previous episode, go back and listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Fortnite Extended Universe, here we go. I heard the next Marvel movie is going to be entirely in Fortnite.
I think what's also kind of funny is that this happened because Bob Iger made realization of going, let me quote him, he goes, when I saw the amount of time they were spending in terms of total media screen time on video games, it was starting to me talking about like Gen Z and Gen Alpha kids. And so the conclusion I reached was we have to be there, and we have to be there as soon as we possibly can. So he's a little slow on the uptake, but he's realized kids play video games. Disney has to be in the video game market so we can sell to them. And that's exemplified, in my opinion, by the end of this Disney X cross Epic trailer. It says play, watch, create, and shop. I feel like this is essentially going into them wanting to use Fortnite as a Disney metaverse.
The Disneyverse is real. Hang on. We could finally get Sora in Fortnite, Saif.
I will not be playing.
You're a coward. No, you're a fake fan.
Right. Well, cool. I guess that's all we have to talk about. Disney suddenly owning just everything on Fortnite. I guess we should hit on the absolute state of play, which is a joke I will make until the end of time.
Yeah, no, maybe you should make a funny joke. While you guys are telling this, I'm going to have a sleepy time.
I thought you were well rested from all the fighting game news.
No, don't worry. I can always do more sleepies.
Cool. Well, I got to be honest with you, Seth. I have a PS5, but of all of the trailers that they announced, I'm sure a lot of these are very good. Like I know Dragon's Dogma people are super excited for, but main one for me, Until Dawn Remastered, probably up there just because it's a known quantity for me. I know. One of the on the announcement trailer for that, some internet legend wrote, I remember playing this back on my stone tablet in 3500 BC. I'm so glad they're finally remastering such an old game. But counterpoint, the fact that it is 10 years old blows my mind, because I know that it's 10 years old, but to me it's still a game that has always been 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was like near launch PS4 release.
Yeah. I've been getting a lot of Foam Stars ads, and I don't really know why.
It just came out and is free on PlayStation Plus.
That might be why. I'm not going to say that it is, but it might be why. But the thing is, can I deck children with buckets?
No, as far as I know.
Then it's worse than Splatoon. That's all I have
That's
to say.
Fair.
There's a few in here that are interesting. What were the ones that stuck out to you, Seth?
All right, so Stellar Blades looks pretty good to me. That's kind of like it's very heavily inspired by Nier Automata. And they just confirmed, hey, this is coming out April 26th. So I'm all in on that. Yaoi is real with Sonic X Shadow Generations. I was hoping I would get a reaction now, Steven.
I don't care.
Wow.
No,
really
just the Yaoi is real line.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. But all the best.
That's the homosexual tag on anime.
Oh, like not yaoi as in those choggies that you had toys come out of. Like, I've only seen it written, to be honest, like yaoi. That's how I pronounce it in my head. I don't know. I don't interact with it.
It might be yaoi, but I've always heard it.
Let's not get into this. This is a grim conversation.
Get a yaoi paddle. Zenless Zone Zero is coming to PlayStation 5, which kind of obvious it was going to happen because Genshin and Star Rail are also there. The Silent Hill games got shown off, and oh boy, that's a whole topic right there. Short message: do not play it. It's got a shit message. And then the Silent Hill 2 trailer was a trailer of watching how the people making it do not understand Silent Hill at all.
Probably it's just because they made a lot of noise during it. So it was like Loud Hill. That's why it didn't probably capture the soul of it.
No, more like Silent Hill 2 has shit combat, and purposely so. So instead of trying to I'm not going to say make the combat shit in this, you still want the game to feel good, but you should make it feel tense. Instead, they went all in on the side of, let's copy Resident Evil 4 Remake's action.
Okay. I don't know what to say to that, so I'm just going to be uncomfortable for a second.
Dragon's Dogma 2 looks good, as usual. Rise of the Ronin looked fantastic with the trailer they showed off. And the one VR game I want to bring up, there's this VR game called Legendary Tales. I don't have a PlayStation VR. I don't plan to get one for quite some time. But if I did, I would get this game because it is the wackiest shit. It's like a medieval dungeon crawler, but you can use the weapons however you want. There is a scene, like a little clip of gameplay where someone picks up a skeleton and choke slams them through a table. And then another clip later on where they pick up the skeleton's skull and then starts beating another skeleton with that skull. It looks really stupid and fun. Like, this is what VR games should be aiming to do.
I can't believe everyone will be playing this in the Apple Vision Pro.
So the Apple Vision Pro isn't compatible with VR games. I just want to say that.
I've woken Steve up, everyone.
It's that, and I'll set Seth off with this, that wrestling scene where I think his name's Tombstone. He's just like getting out of that bed or whatever, the coffin.
The Undertaker.
The Undertaker. Look, do I look like someone who's allowed to do wrestling?
Tombstone.
I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling because one of my friends broke his brother's arm pretty bad when they were pretend wrestling.
Wait a second, you've told this story before. Weren't you the one that broke your friend's arm?
Depends on how I tell the story.
Fair enough.
Redacted by legal.
And then just big Death Stranding 2 trailer at the end, which I didn't watch because I haven't seen I haven't played Death Stranding 1. And I'm like, you know what? I don't trust Kojima to not give something away from the first game in this trailer. And then after that long trailer, he also announced that he's doing a new action espionage game called Pheasant.
Dumb fucking name.
I think it's a code name. I'm pretty sure it's a code name.
For Fizz.
And
I don't know.
He's talked a little bit about that game since, and it seems like he wants it to be like film-like in look and acting, but he still wants it to be a video game. But like, if your mum walked into a room, she'd look at it and go, oh, that's a movie sort of thing.
That's my dad every time I was playing video games. Like in the PS3 era, there's no concept of, well, this looks like a really good movie. What are you watching? I'm playing a video game, Dad. Well, no, you're not. The graphics are so good. Because Dad played on the Intellivision like 40,000 years ago.
Yeah, but he's doing all of this in like Columbia Studios, and he's going to be hiring actors for all the characters, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's going to be all in on taking advantage of his connection to Sony and their Hollywood side.
Cool. Anything else that you want to bring up from that side of it? Otherwise, we have some very exciting Naughty Dog news.
The last thing I wanted to bring up is like he does this very bleak line about saying that he fell ill in 2020 and around the time of the pandemic, so he was isolated from everyone, and he's getting up there in age, so he's realizing that like he's getting to the end of his life. So he wanted to do this project as like a culmination of all of his life's work, sort of thing.
God, I hope it's good. I don't know. I feel like when you announce that this is like your magnum opus, and it goes one of two ways.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be his last game or his magnum opus, but it's like people want him to do another Metal Gear, and so this is him like, this is going to be me going all out doing a Metal Gear style game, because action espionage game from Kojima, it might as well be Metal Gear in everything but name.
Yeah. Cool. Well, the excellent Naughty Dog news, there might be, and hold it, like, Steve, are you sitting down?
Yes.
Wrong. You should be lying down, because sleeping sitting down is not good for you. Naughty Dog, well, Neil Druckmann talked about how there might be one more chapter to the Last of Us story, which means, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting another 4 remasters. I wish I had like an air horn to like. Pew, 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 pew.
You can put that in post.
No, it's a little more complicated than that. Obviously, I like to meme on Naughty Dog because they haven't put out an original IP in a while. Although they've also said that they're working on several original IPs, and a lot of it is because Bungie went and created their multiplayer experience.
Good.
Good. This fucking guy.
So there's so basically this is it's kind of 2 stories in one. So one, highly recommend everyone goes and watches The Last of Us Part 2 documentary called Grounded 2, which is all about them making it. Really fascinating. A lot of insights that I knew bits of, but didn't know the full story of, and it was interesting going back through it, because I remember things like before the game came out and some of the stuff around development and other bits and pieces, and to see that sort of re-talked about and contextualized into where it was relative to the game coming out was really interesting. And so at the end of that, he talks about how they didn't want to make a second game unless they really had a strong concept that would follow up from the first game. And then when they finally had one, that's when everything got kickstarted, and then Last of Us Part 2 rolled around and everything else. And for a while, he said that he couldn't think of something that would justify there being a third part to the story. But that recently, I don't know on what sort of time span, I'm assuming in the last few months, has
Probably
changed.
when Bungie cancelled their game.
When he looked at the cocaine bowl and went, shit, she's looking empty. But in the I'm using air quotes, recent times, he has actually started playing with the idea of a third part to the story, which I think the implication is that this is what's going to tie everything up finally, super finally, this is definitely the last one, part 4.
Which is funny, because that's how in this same quote he explains The Last of Us 2, where it's like, yeah, no, this is the way that we handled The Last of Us 2, it's like, this is a good ending point, it's like that final bite of the apple.
Yeah. He also mentions that he doesn't know whether what he has for part 3 is strong enough to be its own video game, or if it would be a different kind of content, whether it's like a short series, like either like live action or animated, or books/comics. There's sort of like a few options, because of course this is also in the aftermath of Last of Us Part 1 doing so well as the live action, and I think they're still shooting. I don't think they've wrapped yet Last of Us Part 2 live action series, which I'm looking forward to. Part 1 was very good. So yeah, I understand why the internet's memeing on this a bit. I also enjoy memeing on this a bit, just because bro, she's not coming back, move on. but at the same time, I mean, I am still a sucker for the Last of Us universe, so...
Oh, it'll definitely pop off sales-wise if it happens.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if it's mentioned in this article, but he's playing with it focused more around Tommy for the third one. Flicking through the article...
It says at the beginning of the full quotes that he mentions that he's written a story that takes place after The Last of Us 2 that stars Tommy.
Yeah, that's probably the part of the quote that I'm thinking of. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Do you have any thoughts you want to contribute to this, Seth?
Look, if The Last of Us 3 happens, I'm not going to complain. I'm still very... Until I play The Last of Us Part 2, I'm still very much on the camp that The Last of Us should have been the one game. And I am The Last of Us outed in that it's just there's so much stuff around it. There's been so many re-releases and remakes and sequels and then the HBO series that I want Naughty Dog to do something else. And so I'll be disappointed if the next thing they churn out is The Last of Us 3, but I get it.
Alright, so hear me out. It's The Last of Us Part 3, but it stars Nathan Drake. And the infecteds all get turned into Jack. No, Daxter. They all get turned into Daxter.
Okay, hold on. You're selling me on this. But can we change them to metalheads?
Okay. No, but counteroffer, everyone has to be in a car or like some form of cart to move around the world in general.
Can we call it The Fast of Us?
Holy shit.
No,
Ladies and gentlemen.
No, I got a better one. So there's this lounge, right? And they put an engine on and it goes really far. So it's a lounge, so it'd be The Lounge of Us. But the sequel would be Fast Travel Lounge. Please, I know I knocked everyone's socks off right then, but yeah, you got to say something.
Shut up and take my money.
I don't have to say anything.
No, shut up and take Steph's money.
Easily.
You'll have to cut
Done.
it. You'll have to take it out of my stomach.
Yeah.
I already got $55 in there.
You should have said tummy. That would have been funnier. Stomach is so gross. Give me that tummy. Gucci. And then you like throw up the money. I don't know. Can we move on?
It's all ones. I know that he just ate a $50 note and a $5 note, but somehow it's all ones.
How would it, we don't live in America, big fella. I'm not sure why using American currency. Not even New Zealand has actually could be coins. You eat coins?
Seth want a coin?
Like a slot machine?
Seth want a coin sandwich?
Oh, Seth, now that I've been thinking about making myself a grilled cheese sandwich after this. Man, there you go, Pat. That's all I need.
Grilled cheese, but instead of grilled cheese, it's grilled coins.
No, instead of toast, so it's just cheese in the middle with crust on the outside.
Now we're talking.
Hang on, let him grill. Let him cook.
Speaking of letting people cook, there might be a Vita 2 cooking.
Loosely delusional.
Seth?
Yes?
Are we excited?
Oh, you know we are.
I can't believe
Not really, you guys are fucking idiots for believing this.
Sony is doing something for you, for me, and for the other 4 people that have a PlayStation Vita.
4? You're overselling it.
Oh,
It's literally just you, me, and Greg from down the street.
Yeah, I was going to say, did Jacob break his? Oh, that's such a shame.
Jacob D's nut. I don't know.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
This is interesting. And, of course, there's, obviously this is early development. News is sort of flying around the place, but I remember how excited that we were very briefly for that weird, it's out now, but I forget the name that they gave
The PlayStation Portal?
Is that what it is? The Portal?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The Portal, yeah. Dumbest fucking name in the world.
There was a moment there where we were like, is this a return? Is this the one? And then we saw what it actually was and we're like, just give us a second Vita. And I'm just glad that Sony is such a big fan of us that they listened.
Oh, of course. We're the number one source of where they should get their fantastic ideas.
As long as they have to do with either fasting, traveling, or lounging.
But to give a small summary, it seems like a new PlayStation handheld powered by AMD is in early development. This is being reported by Moore's Law is Dead on YouTube, and they're claiming that it's going to be compatible with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 titles. and it'll be roughly 2 years away, but hasn't been greenlit for release yet.
Very exciting stuff.
I can see it happening with how much like Steam Deck and Steam Deck style handhelds, I guess, have been popping off, and then the Switch 2 is going to be happening.
The Switch.
I can see PlayStation wanting to get into that field and going, okay, here's a portable way to play your PlayStation titles.
Indeed.
This isn't real. It never will be real. You guys are on copium so hard.
Yeah, well, it's better to be on copium than to not cope at all.
I want to believe in something. I need this to have some meaning.
You got the Switch 2 being released in the next 47 years.
That's 1 year sooner than I was expecting you to say.
You're welcome.
Well, let's move on to the final block of stories. Xbox related. So, okay, Steve, are we awake? Are we awake? Did the alarm go off? What's
you got your coffee?
What we waking up to? What we waking up to? What music's on the old alarm?
No bueno news.
Not Wake Me Up by Evanescence?
No, this is more...
Steven strikes me as a walking on sunshine type of guy.
Yeah, I am a walking on sunshine type of guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
holy shit.
To the news itself, so Microsoft has closed the Toys for Bob. It's closed their physical studio location, whatever the fuck that means.
There are no more Toys for Bob. It could not be clearer.
Everyone has left at Toys for Bob because on top of that, 86 employees from Toys for Bob are being let go from those redundancy in quotation mark layoffs, which was that big 1900, I think it was.
Yeah.
So Toys for Bob is essentially a skeleton crew now that's all working from home, which to me sounds like they're just going to be Call of Duty support from now on.
To the Call of Duty minds away.
This is after they've done successful releases of the Spyro trilogy, Crash Bandicoot 4, and then the unsuccessful release of that Crash Team Rumble game.
I forgot that existed.
Yeah, it's yeah. Oh well. Like,
anyway,
I said, yeah, I know. Well,
I really hate this trend of these Activision teams that save Activision's financials and then they get rewarded by being put in the mines. Because remember, Vicarious Visions did it with Blizzard as well.
Yeah. I guess you could say they have to face the Call of Duty.
Move on to the next article.
To yearn for the mines.
On more semi-layoff related news, like, yeah, as you said before, Seth, 1,900 people have been recently laid off from Microsoft. So the FTC, that is the Federal Trade Commission, you'll remember those as the bad guys from...
Not to be confused with FTX.
I'm sorry, Microsoft is the one that laid off 1,900 people, and it's the FTC that's the bad guys.
No, let me finish. The FTC is the bad guy from the Activision acquisition. No, but because they've laid off... I'm
curious.
But because they've laid off so many people, the FTC has gone like, come on, guys, what the fuck are you doing? Because from my understanding of why the FTC is yelling at Microsoft this time, it's because Microsoft promised it'd be a bit of autonomy with Activision Blizzard King, as in like they'd had their own staff and they wouldn't have to use Microsoft processors.
So the lawsuit with the FTC hasn't been finished yet. It's still ongoing. And so
really?
They've still got like a second injunction and everything to go through. And so while Microsoft has closed to deal with Activision, they could at any point be told, no, you have to break it off again. You have to split the companies. And so Microsoft said that they would make sure that Activision was in a position where they could operate on their own if such a thing happened. And laying off 1,900 people absolutely does not comply with that.
Yeah, very confident that the FTC. Look, I love Xbox as much as the next guy, but I sort of wanted to see what would happen if that happens. Yeah, but okay, but in Microsoft's defense, as I'm always rushing to defend the multi-billion-dollar company, Microsoft actually did provide a statement to PC Gamer, sort of like a rebuttal, a clarification of facts, whatever you want to call it,
saying that was last year.
Yeah, the deal is substantially changed. Since the FTC lost their court case last July, like it definitely seems like it's like, yeah, no, the FTC is just still having a whinge. So it's kind of how much, look, and as much as you can trust someone defending themselves, yeah, I don't think the FTC has anything.
Keep digging that hole. How are you going to defend Xbox in this one?
Well, I just don't think the FTC has anything like on this. Like they lost their thing.
Xbox also doesn't have anything in the form of good first-party exclusives.
The only thing they lost was the ability to say, hey, you can't merge until this entire court case is done.
That's true. That's true. Look, but at the same time, like I highly doubt the FTC is going to win this one. I'd be actually interested to see how much fucking money Microsoft's paid.
I don't have any sources for it, so you just have to listen to me talk out of my ass from hearing other people talk about it. But apparently the judge is not happy with Microsoft having done this. It could go back on them.
Knowing Microsoft, they'll just appeal it and they'll get a different judge, and the other judge will be like, nah, it's fine, play on. That's okay. Interesting perspective. My favorite part was when you cited your sources. But what I heard from my sources that the judge actually really likes Microsoft.
I see. My sources say that the judge realized that Microsoft fired her son, so now she's actually really pissed off. He was part of the 1900 layoffs.
Is that actually true? That's fucking sick.
It's not true.
Okay, I was going to say that's a massive conflict of interest, and I hate the justice system. But yeah, no, interesting. And in further Xbox news,
well, just before we move on from that, there's a. Fuck did you say to me?
He doesn't want us to keep letting him dig that hole of defending Microsoft laying off 1900 people, but still somehow being the good guys.
There's a great video called I Can't Believe They Got Away with This by the Primogen, I think, with Pirate Software as well, and they're both talking through a former Blizzard employee, basically just venting on Twitter about their experience there.
I forgot about that thread.
Yeah,
well, I forgot about it. I just didn't link it.
That thread is rough reading, but they talk about it because, of course, Pirate Software was formerly Blizzard himself. He did say something really interesting, though, which is that I don't know if it was an Amazon game studio or somewhere else, but there was a company that wasn't doing particularly well and then got picked up by a company that just had a bunch of money and they pumped money into it. So it wasn't. I'm trying to think of like how he actually contextualized it. First of all, go and watch the video. Video is way better than I could possibly describe it. But at its core, what he was basically saying was that the companies that treat their employees best, in his experience, were companies where the game studio was owned by a profitable company. It was not a profitable game studio that was owning what it was doing, if you kind of get what I mean. So
yeah.
It's not like going and working for, say, Ubisoft, because Ubisoft treats... I'm not saying Ubisoft does treat you like shit, although a few of the studio closures and a few other things, maybe they do, I don't know. But he was saying that it's better to go work for somewhere like Amazon Game Studios, where the studio part is owned by a profitable company, and it's not necessarily the studio itself that has to do the profit-driven decision-making. And what he found interesting was that he wanted to see if after the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal closed, whether the Microsoft money would do the same thing for Blizzard. And he said it was just absolutely devastating to him that the first thing Microsoft did once the deal closed was lay off 1,900 people, including a bunch of people from Activision and Blizzard that have been there for like 10 plus years or whatever, because the name on a studio could change, but all the good games are made by good people. And so when you're letting go of a bunch of talent, you're just making it so much harder on yourself to ever make good games again in the future if the good games you made in the past were using those same people. So I thought that was quite an interesting point.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly reasonable as well.
Anyway, go watch the full thing. We'll move on to the next news article. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up in light of everything else going on at the moment.
Yeah, well, in more sad Xbox news, there have been rumors circulating for about the last week or two that Xbox, Microsoft, same company, I guess, may be not producing games anymore, or would be producing games in a way that makes them multi-platform, as in they'll be bringing like fan favorites like Starfield or Redfall to the PS5.
First one, I was about to call you up for being a typo. You drop Redfall as well. Like, no, he's doing it intentionally.
Yeah, grim. But like the biggest things have been like Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, recently another one popped up that's saying the first two would be Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment.
Oh, and Pentiment as well. I didn't see that one. Yeah, I've heard that's a really good game. I've got to play it. But like, it's very interesting. Like these rumors have gone out. Nothing's been confirmed. Twitter's on meltdown. A bunch of Xbox influencers have decided, you know what would get me a lot of clicks? Filming me beating the shit out of my Xbox Series X. And those videos do have like 5 or 10 million views.
Or trading in all of it for a PS5.
Yeah,
a single game.
It's like, yeah, and they just do that for like Twitter Cloud as well. It doesn't really help their followers.
Does anyone convert the existing Series S or Series X into an actual fridge?
Be a bit small. Couldn't be any less power efficient, but
it's too small for it, and it's not as useful as the PS3 being turned into a grill.
Oh yeah, or the PS4 being used as a cockroach home. Yeah, then PS4 still won that generation. But yeah, it seems that there is something going on there. Nothing's been confirmed. Xbox is hosting, I think is a better word. Well, Xbox does a podcast every fortnight, I believe it is. It's the Xbox Games podcast. And it's usually got like I listen to it semi-frequently. Frequently, I don't know. Every once a month I listen to an episode because it is a bunch of like Xbox people like just jerking themselves off for about an hour.
Hey, someone's got to.
Yeah, but it's good. Like they talk to developers of games as well, especially like indie titles and stuff, and they talk about what's happening about like all the limited edition controllers and stuff that you can enter a special sweepstakes to win. So it does kind of feel like a
finally
big gacha game.
The furry controller will be mine.
What a fucking controller! But yeah, so they're on that podcast, which is set to release. I think it's Friday morning for us at 7:00.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. They'll be talking about what the future for Xbox looks like. There's like 3 red flags coming up because number 1, they didn't outright deny anything was happening. Number 2, they're obviously choosing to go the podcast route, so it can be a bit more of the illusion. Yeah, the illusion of a conversation because they'll have pre-scripted answers and stuff, but it's the illusion of a conversation.
Is it an audio or a video podcast?
There is video, but the video is just 4 people sitting around a couch. And sometimes
if they're all like breaking down, like crying, they could just do the audio only one, and we wouldn't know.
No, they've got a special deal with Spotify, so it like automatically records. I think they're just podcast studio is just set up to record.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and like sometimes I'll show up like game trailer or gameplay footage while they're talking about games and stuff. It's quite good. I never watched the video because I'm.
Final question: When are we getting Superfan Steve on the podcast?
They keep emailing me. It's just our time zone because of the time zone difference.
Right, of course.
It's just kind of hard to manage and stuff.
Yeah,
and they keep like
I know you're not that dedicated to Xbox because you never wake up at 3 a.m. for their presentations.
I'm gonna fucking wake up at 3 a.m. for a fucking presentation. I'll stay up until I think midnight for one of the Pokemon presents, and then I'll take myself to bed and I'll wake my girlfriend up. Well, I accidentally, not
Babe, you gotta look at this new Pokemon.
Yeah, like I'll go into bed, I'll accidentally wake her up and she's like, "Oh, how was it? Like, did you enjoy staying up?" I'm like, "Nope."
That's me waking up at 3 a.m. for the Xbox conferences every single time. It's like, I should have slept.
Why would you wake up? I'm not gonna I'll admit, like when they do those things, like I'll wake up, I'll make myself a coffee. I'll wake up, I'll make myself a coffee, and I might watch it. But 90% of the time, I've just had spoiled on like social media everywhere because like every fucking gaming journalist site would be like, all right, they announced 6 games. Let's break this up into 6 posts. So you see it you see it anyway. But I do think the most interesting thing about this is the fact that this is like, and maybe it's because I'm so much in the video game scene is probably the better word for it, that I'm not sure if it happens in like other industries as well. But just like the leak culture, like this leak.
Fucking hate leak culture, which is funny because a couple of our articles have talked about leaks. But
yeah, I know. But like it's one of those things like it's speculation, but then at the same time it's like.
So you want to hit a deranged part about this is apparently I can't remember
who has a gun right now.
I can't remember who said this, if it was like Jez Corden or Jeff Grubb or someone else, but someone has said that these Microsoft leaks have been happening because all of these decisions are coming from Microsoft. It's apparently like they've just bought Activision, and it's like, hey, we're not making enough money on Game Pass and all these the console sales and everything. We need a return on interest, so we're going to go above your heads and we're going to make these changes across the Xbox division. And people from the Xbox division really do not like these changes happening, so they've leaked them out to potentially get like negative backlash, and it'll make Microsoft change their mind.
Potentially, I could imagine that. Yeah, no, I hadn't seen that potential conspiracy theory, and that could probably, because these decisions would be made at like the executive level, they probably would be. I guess it sort of depends on how far the port or the multi-release platform is. But yeah, goddamn it, I hate leak culture, and it's very interesting that this leak culture has rattled Xbox so much that they're actually coming out and stating something about it. Like they're actually having a show about it. They're not just putting out a tweet saying it's not true, get fucked, or we have no comments at this time. It's like, oh hey, tune
Xbox,
in to talk about the future of the Xbox game studios. I'm like, whoa, fuck.
Xbox puts out a tweet. It's just the leaker's IP address.
Usually in these cases, they say something like, hey, no, there's no validity to these comments or so on. And this time it's just been radio silent. Hey, we're going to talk about it at this podcast.
Yeah.
You've been hit with the, hey, can we talk?
It definitely feels like that. But it's like, hey, can we talk on Friday? At the most inconvenient fucking location.
Which, another thing is completely deranged. I fucking hate how all of these Xbox influencers are talking about this like they're going through a bad breakup with Microsoft. As
if it's like the worst betrayal in the world, as in like Xbox hasn't been releasing every game on PC anyway. Like I want to believe they're doing it for clout and they don't actually fucking care.
No, these people are all like, these influencers all act like this because it'll get them clicks. It'll get them clicks. No, it doesn't get them clicks. They actually get in contact with people at Xbox. Like they have sit downs with Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer shows up on their podcasts and stuff like that. So they form these parasocial relationships with the people at Xbox. So now
it's just like us.
I refuse to believe that. Like it probably is true, but I don't want to believe that. Like just I'm begging people to go outside and touch grass. You know what? Just go for walkies. Everyone should be getting 10,000 steps every day. This is not a threat.
But yeah, these people feeling like they're friends with Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond or someone else from Xbox. It's like suddenly the console that they've supported is the games are going to go to the competition. They're feeling like they're massively betrayed, like it's some bad breakup. It's absolutely insane watching it.
Yeah, I refuse to believe that's true. I want to believe it's acting. It's clickbait. I will not. But anyway, let's stop getting me angry for a second. Yeah, no, X-Bros were in trouble. Realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if they be like, "Nah, we are releasing things multi-platform." And I honestly, because, and maybe this is me shilling that Xbox podcast. They like when Tears of the Kingdom came out, like. They talk about Tears of the Kingdom and how good of a game that was. Or when Spider-Man came out, they're talking about how good that game was. And they got that quote, when everyone plays, we all win. As in, like, as long as you're playing video games, who gives a fucking shit? And I really sort of, like, do enjoy that. And I can make as many jokes about, like, oh, yeah, I'm an, like, Xbox gamer through and through type of stuff. But if it's released everywhere, then everybody can play it. Like, but realistically, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, so like having an actual conversation on like where this could go on a consumer side, this is way better. Like being able to play your games wherever you want, massive improvement. Exclusives do nothing but try to force you towards certain boxes. Now, in saying that, that's important for the business side. You want those exclusives so you can convince people to buy your system. You make your money by selling the systems and then selling the games on it. So for Microsoft to be changing that and going, actually, we need to start releasing these games on the other systems, go somewhat third party, even if it's not all the way. It's like, maybe it's like a couple of games and then maybe it's like the bigger games they hold back, which I don't think it's going to happen. I think the best case scenario for people that want Xbox to not be fully third party is like, hey, Starfield's going to be out on Xbox and then a year later it's going to come out to PlayStation sort of scenario. there's just something that strikes me to, like they're in trouble and they need to resort to this.
Yeah. Oh, it should be fun though. You PlayStation 5 enjoyers can get Starfield.
I don't want Starfield. I heard how you talked about that.
I think Xbox's big problem is the games. Like Redfall was shit, Starfield was mid. Hi-Fi Rush is good, but
Hi-Fi Rush is good. I played that one. I got it on my PC.
I played it as well. I played it over the Christmas break.
I also got it on Seth's PC.
Wait a second. When was the last time you were in my walls?
But yeah, no, interested to see how this one goes. Just stick to the plan, X Pros. We'll be fine. We're gonna make this together. We'll make a support group or something. We'll call it Game Pass. Support passer. Hang on. Remember those rumors like 4 years ago about like Game Pass coming to the Switch? Is this it?
No. There was another thing that was a big rumor with this one. Apparently, they're going to stop doing day one Game Pass releases.
Yeah. Day one Game Pass releases are like the icing on the cake. Like I'm happy to wait like a couple months. That's not me.
Apparently that's like a big chunk of what's eating into their budget. Like the subscription.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Like you think about how expensive it is to make a Western AAA game, and then you look at how much money Game Pass brings in, and the math doesn't work out.
Yeah, I honestly like with Starfield like coming to Game Pass day one. I always thought that was a bit weird, but
yeah, and on top of that, they're saying that like Call of Duty is never going to be on Game Pass, and other Activision games will not be on Game Pass because they need to sell them at a premium price to make the money back. Just
like that, so they would let people go from Activision Blizzard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like
Friday morning, get excited, everybody.
I feel like losing out on day one Game Pass releases is also going to hurt them a fair bit. Like how many? I think they're going to lose a good chunk of people on Game Pass subscriptions if they remove that.
They've still got mine for another 2 years. They just got to block that turkey loophole.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good old Turkish Steven. That's what we call him.
When my hair starts going out, where do you think I'm going?
Stephen, you saving money like that is why they're in this position.
Am I the bad guy? Oh well.
You're the guy Xbox told people not to worry about.
Nah, it's different when I do it. I'm the good guy.
Just gonna let that hang there. All right. Do we want to touch the last article specifically in terms of Microsoft?
We combined those last two.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, in that case, we come to the end of the news for this week. We're already delivering a bumper episode, so why don't we just roll it forward? We have an audience question from Stephen Jobothy. God fucking damn it. This was you, wasn't it, Steve?
Maybe.
No, my last name is Jobothy.
Yeah, my last name's not Jobothy.
Oh yeah, what is it, Steve?
Yeah. It's
It's Jobothy now, bitch.
It's Ligma.
Who's Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobothy. Holy shit, it is Ligma. All right. Stephen Jobothy, whoever that absolute psychopath is, asks, what was your first gaming memory? I have a couple from different points, which doesn't.
You
really
can have a couple of first memories, Pat. What the fuck?
Yeah,
man?
no, it's like different sort of things. The first, yeah, okay, no, I got mine. So I'll go first. Dad was at a conference in Sydney back in, I guess, 2001-ish. Actually, no. What year was PS2?
Like
2001, 2002?
Yeah, 2001. Might have been 2002 over here.
Yeah, okay. So somewhere in there, I think more on the 2001 side, he was at a conference in Sydney. And when he came back, he had a mysterious blue box with him. And inside that blue box was a PS2, which I would come to know and love. And so he, I think, was just, I don't remember where he was in Sydney, but he just absolutely fell in love immediately with Formula 1 2001 being a sort of simulation-y racing game. And so bought the PS2, and bring them back to little old New Zealand and set them up, played a bunch of Formula 1, and then went, Patrick, this is amazing, you should check this out. And then within 10 minutes went, oh my god, what have I done? Because at that moment he realized he fucked up. And that's probably my earliest gaming memory because that was the first introduction that I had to a gaming console. And that was my first introduction to wanting more than anything else to play video game.
You know what my favorite part of that story is?
Which?
The fact that you've told it like 3 times on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's a good story, but
it is.
I still think it is a good story. Well, what's funnier is that he realized that he fucked up so badly that my parents have tried multiple times to come as close as they could to throwing out the video game console without throwing out the video game console. Like, we downsized the TV to try and get us to stop playing video games as kids.
That's unhinged.
Absolute base parenting.
Simply just put the video games outside. Then you're playing games outside. Works for me on the Game Boy Advance.
So for me, I don't know exactly which is the first, so I'm going to give 2 answers. The first one is just a very simple...
What's with it? Oh, bro, I didn't know the question was, can you give me as many memories as you can? No, we're doing a truth through any lane.
I was 4 years old at the time of both of these happening, so I don't know which one was first.
Well,
I was barely conscious.
Still barely conscious.
So fairly simple is just being at my grandparents' place. My uncles and aunts were all still fairly young, still living with my grandparents. There was a PS1 there, and just kind of playing Crash Bandicoot 1, going through the first island, fighting against Papu Papu, doing the Warthog chase level. You know, all core memories of playing the PlayStation 1. The other one is playing Tekken 3. There's this.
I knew it was going to be a fucking fighting game.
There's this funny little character in Tekken. He has a sword. He's a little weird. Patrick might call him a meth head. His name is Yoshimitsu.
Hey, it's my favorite crack dealer.
I just remember a lot of messing around with Yoshimitsu and making him sit on the ground doing chants, or jumping on top of his sword and running around, or using it as a helicopter blade. All fun times.
Absolutely cracked out of his mind.
Love Yoshimitsu, one of the all-time greats.
Method ninja.
And how about you, Stephen? What's your answer? You sounded very upset that we had multiple, so I'm sure you've only got one.
I do have one.
Boring.
Actually, I got multiple. No, I'm joking. I do only have one. Like a couple of glimpses, but this is like the actual first thing that I can tell. I can finish from start to finish. So like one of the first consoles I got was like a Nintendo 64, but for whatever reason, because my parents didn't understand that it didn't come with games. We didn't have any games for it, so I got it for Christmas, and it's like, all right, now
look
what?
at it.
Oh shit, there's no games. And because it was Christmas, everything was closed. So what we had to do is we had to go down the street to down the street to my friend's house, and we borrowed Mario 64 from them, and they were fine, hey, cool, whatever, take this, their save files there, just don't erase it, rah. So we plug it in, and he was up to the first Bowser fight. So like, I don't know how I worked out how to get there. Maybe just tried a couple of doors and then went into the one big one behind the star. For whatever reason, got through the course pretty easily. Then I got to Bowser, and like when he jumps down, I was literally so fucking scared. I've been like 4 years old. I'm just literally fucking wetting my pants, so scared. And then like when you like die and you get a game over and you get the Bowser laughing. And I literally was like so scared. Like I turned off the Nintendo 64 and I unplugged it. I took the cartridge out and I gave it back to my dad. I'm like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm scared. And Dad's like, you'll be fine. And I just remember
we didn't buy your console and go through all this effort to borrow a game just for you to quit.
Yeah, so just seeing like my dad's face being like, we went to so much effort to get this fucking game for you, and you don't want to play it anymore. Get fucked. But yeah, that's why like I've got PTSD.
Well, did you go back to it?
I love the idea
I finished
that
it.
Steve's dad takes the same approach as like trying to train a kid not to smoke. Like, oh, you smoked one cigarette? Well, you're going to have to finish the pack to try and get them to stop smoking. Like, look how terrible it is. Like, oh, you started playing 64 but didn't finish it? Fucking 120 star, bitch.
I think it's because like when my dad was like watching me at the start, it was all like this colorful game that just fucking around. And then for me to turn around like half an hour later and be like, oh, I'm scared. It's like, what are you scared of? Stop being a baby. Dad, I'm 4 years old. Leave me alone. Let me be scared. But yeah,
he's like, I'm going for an angry dad walk.
And then he never came back.
Went out for a pack of cigarettes. He went out to return the copy of Super Mario 64 and never returned.
He went out to try and find a pack of cigarettes to get you to smoke.
Rather have a kid that smokes and a kid that can't finish Super Mario 64. But yeah,
Oh man.
that's why I've got like a bond with Super Mario 64. So when the 3D collection came out 2 years ago and I finished it, and I finished it, I wasn't scared. I didn't come running to Dad about it.
Proud of you.
At least someone said it. Get
That certainly wasn't.
Get down on the line. Get another time. Get down on the line.
Imagine you finish a 120-star speedrun. You submit the time and you see that it's 1 second slower than your dad who submitted a time like 20 years ago.
This is actually Mike, and it's actually like he's got one of those camcorders holding up to the CRT.
Yeah. Unregistered Hypercam 2 type shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, good memories. It's a good game.
Well, thank you to both of your responses, and thank you to you, Stephen Jobber, for the question. If there is a question that you or someone that you know would like us to answer, then get in touch. We're on Twitter at Fast Travel Lounge minus the L that Elon continually takes. Facebook, Fast Travel Lounge, and good old.
His name would be Eon if he didn't have it.
It's true. It's the only thing that keeps him sane.
Hang on, and the Eon ticket was given out to get Latias and Latias. Hang on, how far down did this rabbit hole go? Did he gatekeep the Battle Frontier from us?
You know what? I'm going to say yes just to make Patrick even more mad at him.
So what you're saying is if I remove his eyes, I get the Battle Frontier for Oras?
No, you have to take his L. I'm telling you right now, that's a mighty heavy L to hold.
Instead of Pat, you'd be Pal. And you can make a world out of you. A Pal world, if you would.
Let me find a pack of cigarettes for Steve.
No, wait, I still need you to host.
I'm the host now.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. You guys need anything?
I actually need this to wrap up so I can go get some milk. Unironically, I need to go to the 7-Eleven across the road to get some milk.
That's
Man,
so
you're
good.
going to pay like $1 million for that. All right.
Anyway, we're also mailbag, fasttravellounge@gmail.com and fasttravellounge.bluesky.social or whatever that one is. You can look us up. It's probably us. Just
100% us.
100% us. But that brings us to the end of episode 106. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Pat. I've been joined by Seth and Steve. Thank you so much for listening. Already said that. And we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday, Facebook.